What up, people? Welcome in. Let me jump into his studio room. Oh, don't need that. I guess I get like an introduction or something. We'll see. So excited. You guys feel free if you have any questions. Jump on in, ask us our thoughts, whatever it is.
Yo, Eli.
What up?
Hey, okay. Give me just a quick second, all right?
I got you.
All right.
I got you.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to do a test sound real quick.
Okay.
Just let me know if you can hear this or not. It's going to be the Y2J theme. Can you hear that?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Is it too loud or?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I'll start it, and then I'll bring you in as the music's playing at the beginning.
Okay, dope.
And then I'll introduce you, and then I don't know if you want to say anything about your sponsor,
Yeah.
or anything about your channel. But towards the end, for sure, we'll make sure to.
Yeah.
What are you eating?
A breakfast bowl from IHOP.
Nice. All right. You ready, or do you need a little bit more time?
Go ahead.
All right. And I'm going to turn my cam on also.
Gotcha.
Okay. Just a second. All right. All right. How's everybody doing? Good to have you. It is Scooper McGruber. Here with me, I have the Book of Eli.
What up?
How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, sir.
I can hear you.
I see D'Lo Brown in the background.
Oh yeah. So this is Royal Rumble 2000.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I actually just learned something about D'Lo. We'll talk about it later. Um, but yeah, how you doing, man?
No, I'm doing good. Just enjoying the day off in shitty weather, but I'm good.
Yeah, we did have some bad weather today.
Oh,
I'm
man.
drinking my last Shiner Cheer for the season.
Nice.
Last one.
I'm sipping on some Old Forester King Ranch.
Ah, well, cheers, man.
Yes, sir. I haven't even poured my
Thank you.
glass yet. Well,
Yeah, it was either the Y2J themed or the Rikishi theme.
either one would have worked. Both
I think
entertaining.
I think I might play the Rikishi one later. All right, dude. So you want to get into some new stuff or some old stuff or?
We guess we can really start into the trending, like from the old stuff going into like the PG stuff to now it's like the PG-13 era kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
And so that era started, I think, when like Linda McMahon was running for Senate,
yeah,
and so they toned it down.
they toned it down.
But it kind of felt like after all the like Chris Benoit stuff in 2007 that they really kind of started cleaning things up. Like it wasn't nearly as bloody or as edgy as the 90s, you know?
Yeah. Let's shoot this over real quick. Okay. Yeah. Let's say I've kind of was paying attention around the PG era, not as much. I'd say probably for the past year and a half, maybe two, I've been paying closer attention. Oh, actually, when AEW became a thing, that's when I kind of jumped on board and see what was going on. Um, there's a lot to talk about because
Yeah.
it's actually
It's an
becoming
interesting time.
right now. It is an interesting time. It's starting with the fact that there's still conspiracy that WWE might be bought out by Saudi
Yeah.
Arabia.
Yeah.
And the fact that Stephanie McMahon has resigned
And then Vince is back.
and Vince is back for no odd reason. Well, he probably lost so much money because all the shit that he was going through. But
Yeah.
I mean, if he's willing to sell that, I want to say this right off the bat. It's gonna kill off the women division right off the bat. And like, nothing against like the way they do things out there and stuff, but it's they don't like. Well, from my understanding, the women's division are not as like looked at the same as the men's division out there.
Yeah.
And so
Especially in Saudi Arabia where they can't wear as much revealing costume wear
exactly,
stuff like that.
exactly. And it's been around like forever. I mean, I probably remember I started watching when, let's see, I'll write a little. No, yeah, when I want to say a little bit after when Kane after he showed up against Undertaker in the Hell in the Cell, or was it
And
a
what
cage
year was
match?
that?
I don't. It was 19. I want to say 95. I want to say maybe 96. 96 seems more accurate. But watch. I remember as a child when Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit got introduced into like the actual WWF roster and stuff.
Yeah, because they were WCW.
Yeah, they showed up in a limo and everything. I remember like it was yesterday. It was actually pretty dope.
Yeah.
And
so those days, I I was primarily introduced to, like, I was more into WCW at first.
Right.
And so, like, I would watch Nitro and NWO and the video games and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And
One
so
sec.
that's how I really, like, got to know, like, Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash and Sting and stuff. Like, so, like, during the Monday Night Wars, I honestly was primarily tuned in to Nitro as a kid.
Yeah.
And like I would see clips, and like Stone Cold Steve Austin would be on MTV and like Celebrity Deathmatch, and like I knew that what WWF was, and like Mankind and stuff like that.
Right.
But it wasn't until like 2001 when Vince bought the company,
Mm-hmm.
and then like what you mentioned, everybody joined the official WWF roster.
Yeah.
And so that's whenever I started tuning in, in like to WWF. And then that's when I got like super into like The Rock. Like I thought The Rock was the funniest dude. Like he would trash talk people and then whoop their ass. Like it was the funniest stuff.
He probably had the greatest mic promo out of like everybody, even till today. Like so entertaining. Know how to talk up the fan. Know how to talk down the opponent. Know how to like, just get the job done on the mic. Like his promos were just absolutely golden.
Yeah, totally.
But you fast forward to right now, it is a bit different. There's not as much as like what was it? You don't have your bury me alive matches. Even the games have changed too. Like there's no Inferno matches, or there's no casket
TLC
matches. There's still TLC matches. There's just no like those barbed wire rope matches or anything like that, or like they kind of got rid of that. But all that
lingerie
left,
matches,
all that left, and popped up in AEW when they sprout out of nowhere, and that's what I'm thinking right now, because I've said this a long time ago. When they first started making appearance and everybody started jumping board over there. WWE was losing a lot of money because everyone's number one complaint was it's all like childish now, and like it's only for kids and stuff like that. And I get that. I mean, we grew up on like Stone Cold flicking someone off, or you got two grown guys telling people to suck it, and it's obviously different.
throwing old ladies through tables and stuff like that.
You went from Hulk Hogan throwing it to his ear to John Cena throwing it to his face. I mean, but it's just.
Hey, do you see what's on my screen right now?
I remember that too. At the Royal Rumble, that was actually pretty lit.
Do you remember the way JR used to say Grandmaster Sexy? It's Grandmaster Sexy.
Sexy.
Grandmaster Sexy.
But like I still believe to this day that WWE has some kind of ownership in AEW, even though it's a completely different brand. But
do you think it's just to have like a healthy competition, like a competitive sort of
the healthy competition to bring back viewers, thinking that they're never going to get the old WWF back? But that's kind of the stuff that I said that they took out of WWE, and that's actually what's being presented in AEW. And then there's that, and then you also got names like Big Show, Mark Henry, Mr. Ass. All these big names went over there just to eat. Like,
is Big Show going by his real name now?
I think so. I think so.
Paul White.
Because
I hear more people refer to him as Paul White.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I feel like it's just to help the superstars to see what it was like help them mentor them into like being like what the Attitude Era was all about and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more of a show for like, I guess, us oldies, I guess you can say. And then as for the WWE, I mean, right now it's gotten better, as in like, so there's this thing where ever since when right after Vince McMahon left the first time, um, I looked into where there's this thing called the Forbidden Door has been opened.
Okay.
And if you know what that is,
Uh,
so the Forbidden Door is basically where any superstar from a different branch can come into the company, or vice versa. They can go and compete into like a different branch or whatever. And right now, like they have
like Goldberg.
like for instance, Randy Orton can go compete at New Japan Wrestling or go fight at Impact Wrestling, or you can get people at AEW to come enter in the WWE's Royal Rumble, which that's happened. I think was it last year, where Mickey James was wearing a Impact Wrestling belt when she entered the Royal Rumble. I think it was last year. Um, I thought that was cool, like letting them have like different superstars from different branches to come and like compete and that kind of thing. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure it's gonna happen again at this Royal Rumble. That's happening on
in
the
San Antonio.
it's happening the 28th, I believe. Um, I'm a little bit psyched about that. As for like storylines and stuff, I say like some of the storylines have gotten better. Some of them are still dull.
So
Uh,
let me ask you this: I know Cody Rhodes came back onto the scene, and he's one of these guys that has these like multi generational sort of thing. Like,
mhm.
I mean, his brother was big, and then his dad, obviously, Dusty Rhodes. Uh, um, do you think he could be somebody like Randy Orton or even The Rock that is just like stays in it like for a while and has this like lineage, like they kind of build off that, or because he was in TNA or TNA, was it TNA or AEW? He went to.
AEW. AEW.
Okay.
He left and started a company, was pretty much helped build AEW to what it is right now. Him, Chris Jericho, and a bunch of others.
Yeah.
And I guess where he kept on, I guess the reasons why he left was like his ideas were getting ignored, and
Hmm.
he just like things weren't really going the way that he visioned it and how he wanted it to be. And so he just packed his shit and he went back to the brand. Now, I would say this: if Cody Rhodes never had left and stayed with like Gold as well, when he was Stardust or
Stardust.
whatever, um, no, not a chance. He wouldn't have that kind of a caliber where he's at right now, because all he was, it was just like, just a mid card extra, maybe an opener, hardly really a main event. I mean,
Yeah.
to be honest, like there around that time, there was a group called the Shield that was running around.
Yeah.
Um, that group
Okay,
was
so by that time, so I really tuned out of wrestling entirely around like 2007.
okay.
So like 2008 to like more recently in the past few years. Like I
Okay,
kind of caught up more in tune with like the Undertaker's last couple of years. So
right.
maybe like 2008 to 2008 to 18, like I jumped back on it. So
Yeah.
like
Uh,
10 years. So the Shield was like Seth Rollins, and then who's the Roman
it was
Reigns,
Roman Reigns and it was Dean
who's like
Ambrose,
the
which
guy now.
which Gene Ambrose is originally his what should I call it? His what do you call it? The people that are in wrestling, the Indies. His indie name was John Moxley.
Mhm.
That's where he's at right now in AEW, trying to like John. Okay, John Moxley. He had a good thing kind of going in a way. There's like the only reason why he really left is because he wanted to create his own like kind of image, or like he wanted to be a certain kind of way with his character, but Vince McMahon didn't want to let him. But yet you got other superstars just doing whatever the fuck they want, like Bray Wyatt and whatever, which Bray Wyatt's phenomenal. But um like I said, like Cody Rhodes leaving, John Moxley leaving, just to help build their character and solidify like who they want to be and what kind of character they are, and just
Mhm.
having Cody Rhodes back, I would now put him in the caliber, like he is. You're gonna see him more in championship matches. You're gonna see him, like there's talk that he's actually gonna win this year's Royal Rumble. Like they're just gonna they're gonna make him like a top dog, like how Edge and The Rock and Undertaker,
Yeah.
how they were in their prime. That like Cody Rhodes is he's on their way up there. As for John Moxley, he says he won't ever go back because the way like certain promos went, like Roman Reigns, there was had to like leave because he was battling leukemia.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Okay, so I actually heard something crazy. There's conspiracies that was faked. There's like people
there,
think that was faked.
um, he really did have leukemia. I don't know if the role was um fake or not. I feel like he did come back a little bit quicker than
Hmm.
I thought, but then again, I would have to really look at that timeline right there. Um, but like that was really one of the main reasons why John Moxley left because they wanted him to like poke jabs at him having leukemia or turn his back on his group. Who is that?
Oh, it's Joni. How you doing, Joni? One of my mods.
Oh, nice, 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 nice. Um, yeah, so just taking jabs at how like he wanted to be trained Seth Rollins on the night he announced leukemia, or he would have to make side comments about Roman Reigns like having leukemia, like just certain things he was just uncomfortable doing, and then Vince McMahon just didn't fucking care. Like he wanted to do the way he wanted to do, like even to be honest, even like the Undertaker's streak breaking against Brock Lesnar, that
Yeah.
so I saw the podcast with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon, and he was trying to say like, um, it was Undertaker's decision. And like, no, everyone knows that wasn't Undertaker's decision. It was more like your decision. If it was
Oh
Undertaker's,
wait, real quick question. So you're talking about Stone Cold's podcast?
yes,
Okay, so it's called Broken Skull Sessions,
yes.
right? Okay, so I thought I was trying to come up with funny names for the podcast, and like what you said, Smack Talk or different variations. I was like, "What at the beer Broken Skull Sessions? That's so badass!" And so I googled it real quick, and it's just clearly a Stone Cold podcast that he hosts himself. So I chose the bottom line because I
Yeah,
thought that would be something, but I guess it's not. Nobody took that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whatever. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. But like everyone already knew that it wasn't Brock Lesnar's, well, Undertaker's idea for Brock Lesnar to like end the streak. Like there was a video that was going viral that when Undertaker showed up at one of his fights, Brock Lesnar's fights in the UFC, like when Brock Lesnar was leaving, Undertaker was like in this like in the fans, and he was walking by Brock Lesnar and he looked at him and was like, "Hey, you want to do it?" Like as in that was probably like let's fight at WrestleMania. I didn't think it would end the streak. I felt like someone that could should end the streak was either like John Cena, Roman, so someone that's has either has some kind of either like history with The Rock, because like right after John Cena's first match,
Oh, he gave him the handshake. He's like, "Hey,
he
good
gave him
job."
the
And he
handshake
had the belt.
like
I watched that on TV when it happened. Like
yeah
I remember me and my brother watched that. Because we were into it, real into it at that point.
yeah
And Kurt Angle was having his Olympic challenge, and then John Cena comes out. All right, kid, tell me your name. I'm John Cena. And then John Cena actually like gave him for a couple seconds, like gave him a run for his money. I mean,
mm-hmm.
Kurt Angle won, but uh, later when John Cena did win his first match, what you're talking about with the Undertaker, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
remember that.
Yeah, so
Undertaker was undisputed champ at that point.
so there is that. I mean, I'm pretty sure you could have put other names in there. Bray Wyatt was a good choice.
Well,
Um,
Randy Orton, I mean, for a while he was doing the whole legend killer gimmick. So if anybody that needed to push could have been him, and it
yeah,
would have played a gimmick. But he actually lost like twice at WrestleMania before that,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So like and Vince's argument was like there was really nobody. The Rock
Johnny
says,
says The Rock says he eats children in a video I saw. I never cared. You know what though? I do think, as far as wrestling goes, I think maybe he was a little overrated. Like I always thought he was hilarious. He was my favorite, but I saw like a pyramid chart, and it had like the top tier, and then S tier, A tier, and then B tier,
I mean, that's how it
and
has to
then
be.
so the S tier was Hogan, Steve Austin, and Cena, and then the B tier was like Ric Flair, someone else, but they had, it was weird like that they didn't have The Rock at the very top. But I was like, you know what though? I mean, Stone Cold was always the guy. I mean, there was a period where Stone Cold was out on injury and Rock and Triple H got the shine.
Yeah.
But I mean, during that time period, I mean, Stone Cold is pretty much known as the guy.
He was the Hellraiser, of course. I mean, everyone had their moment and like lived up to it.
Eli, do you remember the movie The Marine? John Cena.
Yes, unfortunately, I do.
Yeah, dude, he's actually been in some good movies.
No, yeah, no, it took him some time, but yeah, some of the movies that he'd been putting
It took
out.
him some time. It took some time to like get the feel of like what, because he was in this Amy Poehler movie, Tina Fey, called Sisters, and he played this like swole drug dealer.
Oh yeah,
He's hilarious. And then like more recently is Peacemaker, Trainwreck. Yeah, the Trainwreck.
Yep.
But I feel like Stone Cold was in the first Expendables movie, and then he was in some other.
Oh no, I loved almost. He was in The Longest Yard. He was in.
That's right.
What was that movie? Where he was like on an island with like a bunch of other prisoners.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. That was actually a good movie. I actually enjoyed that a lot.
So I remember when I was a little kid, we'd go to the VHS store, and I remember looking at the like Hulk Hogan movies from the late '80s, and it was like Little Ninjas, or like it was a bunch of random movies he was in.
Three Ninjas.
Three Ninjas.
Yeah, Three Ninjas.
Rocky 4, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. He played in a few. He played in another movie that I was shocked. I wasn't shocked about. You can't remember the movie, but I watched it like maybe 2 months ago. I was shocked that he was in there. He looks so fucking young. Randy Savage was in those movies and shit like that.
Oh, well, dude, he was in Spider-Man.
Yeah, he was in Spider-Man.
That was awesome.
What else? Yeah, it's just. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, this is entertainment at its like there's acting and they're providing scripted entertainment, and I get that. It's basically what movies are and stuff like that, and TV shows.
Because I remember when The Rock was in the second Mummy movie. That was like a big deal.
Yeah.
Whoa, like you can watch them on TV and in the theaters, like.
The rundown. He was just.
Oh yeah,
dude, it's just.
Okay, so here's the deal. Like, I mean, obviously he's not like the best actor, but he's definitely has like a career of like, I mean, over 10, 15 years of doing this, and I mean, there's a reason why he's like the biggest superstar actor celebrity. You know, like I think one year he like he was like the highest paid actor or something like that. Like
he might still be. If I'm not mistaken, he might still be the highest paid actor right now.
So Joni says, my grandma loved wrestling. Could never tell her some of it was scripted. Yeah, it's still real meant to read. It's still real to me, damn it.
I mean, granted, okay, yes, obviously it's scripted. Obviously, everyone knows that, but
I just say like it's like not staged. I mean, that sounds bad. Also,
it's scripted entertainment. The word entertainment is in WWE.
I mean, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
because apparently Vince like doesn't like the term wrestling. Like he doesn't refer to it as, and I think it might come down to some of the legal stuff, and we can get into it more a little later with like the steroids, like, because it's not technically a competition. It's not a competition, so it's like entertainment, like it's like a scripted, planned thing. So that I think that's how they're able to get away with like some of the like juicing and like some of the that
my,
scandalous stuff.
my thing I always wondered was, so it's scripted, it's where's that? Okay, yeah, it's scripted, and but how do, like, if it's scripted and everything, and you're trying, it's kind of predetermined, like who's gonna win what match and who's gonna win what championship and who's gonna win the Royal Rumble, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
how do you move up to the mountain? Like, are you judged on based on how your match goes? Do you not get injured or stuff? And like, there's this place out in Katy. Um, I forgot what it's called. It's some kind of little small indie wrestling show area, and
Oh, really?
I was at a card shop. It used to be out in Katy. Now, I think, yeah, it's not there anymore. But there's these guys that came in there, and then they had these like little vouchers and saying like, oh, we're just advertising like our little wrestling show and stuff like that. Be fun if y'all can come out and stuff like that. And he was asking me like, oh, who's your favorite superstar? He was asking me and my friend Carlos like, who's your favorite superstars, yada yada. And I just sat there and asked him like, how do y'all determine like who gets the championship, things like that. And he was just like,
Yeah.
right when we sign someone, like say if I sign Randy Orton the first year, like I'm not gonna really give him a championship shot unless like he's had like previous experience and stuff like that. But normally he said people would have to wait like to like 8 months to a year to even see a championship shot or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
also based on how you work
You
well
got to
with,
grind it in that business. You got to like be a jobber for like a little
and
while.
how well do you compete with others and how you make the match, how you sell the matches. And so like, I mean, I
What's
guess
up, Shlika? How you doing?
so I guess from a sense that's how it's really told. um
Hey, we got a question from Bobby Hill, my brother Bobby Hill. Joni, this is my brother Bobby Hill, Curtis Stitch. Why do you think the changes from Federation, so like WWF to E, um,
well, there was a lot of big confusion because if you look up WWF right now, it
yeah,
either brings you to the wrestling site or some
the World Wildlife Fund?
yes, yeah, it has a panda on
And
it or
so
like
that's
that.
been around for a while. And so in like the mid 90s, they had got like a cease and assist from like using that name.
Mm-hmm.
Like you, or they couldn't use the acronym WWF. Like they had to call it World Wrestling Federation, but the logo was WWF.
Right.
And so they kept getting like potential lawsuits.
That's what I heard.
Um,
Yeah.
so and they didn't stop. So they like were pushing it to the very edge. So they changed it to entertainment. And so that goes back to what I was saying. Like it's not sports, it's entertainment. It's not a competition. It's entertainment. But also, so do you know the reason why the name Federation? Like, because like Vince's dad and grandfather, they were buying up all the smaller wrestling promotions around the country, all around the region, all around the country.
Yeah.
And so as they kept buying more regions, it was like almost like a federation of territories. And then that's when you had Ted Turner that bought I can't remember the acronym, but it's where Ric Flair is from. The promotion Ric Flair got big in.
There's WCW. There's
But no, but before it was WCW, it was called something else, and that's where Ric Flair got big. I'll Google it right now. Do you know what I'm talking about, though?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Even ECW got bought out too. That was pretty crazy, but
Yeah, yeah, because there's rumors that it was always owned by Vince, that he actually had always owned it, and kind of like what we were talking about earlier for healthy competition,
AEW.
that a lot of people think that, yeah. Okay, so Jim Crockett Promotions, yeah, JCP, Jim Crockett Promotion, and then for a little while with Hulk Hogan, TNA Impact after WWE.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then it was Jim Crockett Promotions, but then became WCW, in which Ted Turner bought that and then started his own. Did you know that they used to film that at Disney World or Disneyland?
I did not know that. No.
Yeah, the Disneyland Studios. In the early days. So like when you look up Hulk Hogan's first debut to WCW, it's like at Disney World, and he's like in the back of a convertible and stuff like that. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And this is before the whole NWO thing also. So this is like still when things aren't before Nash and Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, Diesel and Razor Ramon, before they signed on to WCW, and then they sort of got the ball rolling. They had like these contracts that like gave them creative input. And so they could just like kind of do whatever they want. And then it just got out of control as the years went on. And essentially is the reason why the company tanked is because it was all NWO for like 6 years. And it was like finally when someone comes along like Sting or Goldberg, they just lose immediately and it's back to somebody that's NWO. But anyway, see, dude, those are my memories when I was like a real young kid, just watching those WCW shows. Like, I don't know, something about it just was, I don't know, it like struck a little bit more for me. Like, it's like if whether you like Marvel or DC, it's like one really works and one doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the change from WWF to E. So the weekend before they made the official change on TV to like the public, there was this infamous event. And Eli, you might know of it, you might not. You probably know of it. And it's the plane ride from hell. Do you know what that is?
That sounds familiar.
Oh, dude. Okay, so do you know about the show on Vice called The Dark Side of the Ring?
Yeah.
They talk about like kind of the steroid scandal and a bunch of other stuff.
Right.
There's this episode called The Plane Ride from Hell, and it took place in March 2002. So this is like right like after WrestleMania 18, Rock, Hogan, Undertaker's Undisputed Champ. They did this European show like throughout the week. They went to Europe and did these shows. And on the way back, I guess before the plane ride could leave, they got stuck on the like airplane tarmac for 7 hours.
Oh, wow.
And in that time, because they had their own private jet, in that time, they like drank all the booze, or they had to get another liquor cart ordered, and then that one was emptied, and then they had to get another one. And so like it was the people on the flight. So like you got the like front side of the plane and then the back side, and then in the front side is like Vince, his wife, JR, yada yada.
Right.
But in the back is all the guys, the talent. So you got like Ric Flair, Mr. Perfect, you got Scott Hall, you got a young Brock Lesnar, you got Sean Walton. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
X-Pac, yeah. You got X-Pac.
Billy Gunn. I'm sure.
I can't think. I don't know. But you had all these guys, and so because of weather, they got stuck like a 7-hour delay. So they just got hammered and got crazy and like drank all the booze, got rowdy. They were like roughhousing on the plane. They were like shooting up and like dropping like GHP. Do you know what that is?
Mm-mm.
I don't know like the specifics, but essentially it's this drug that like they would take and like drop it into their alcohol, and it was like because they were big and broad, they could take it and get effed up, but like it's essentially like the date rape type of stuff.
Okay.
And so they were just getting rowdy, and like there's stuff about like Brock Lesnar and Mr. Perfect roughhousing and like breaking a bunch of stuff. and then somebody, uh, like apparently Ric Flair was like opened his robe and was like swing like helicopter dicking and like he went to like the galley where like one of the like attendants were, the flight attendants, and he was like, "Come on, baby!" Like he was like doing his like woo style and profile, like he was doing his thing, but like he had his robe on, but he didn't have anything else on, and so like I guess he got like too close to this woman or like cornered her.
Yeah.
And so there's that, which I mean, that's not a good thing, especially if the woman. I'll get to what happened with the woman.
I kind of can piece it together, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And then Scott Razor. Oh, that woman, that flight attendant, went up to Razor Ramon while he was like belligerently like passed out, like just like knocked out, and he woke up for a second and like said something to her, like stupid, like, "Oh, baby, you want like Razor, like these guys get wasted and turn into their characters, like Razor Ramon, hey yo, you want me with the NWO, like just they're ridiculous. So, yeah, so they have to fly over the Atlantic, and then everyone's like doing drugs and getting wasted and all this stuff. And I guess like Goldust was on the flight, and he got on the intercom and like started saying a bunch of crazy stuff. And like apparently, okay, so the plane lands, and then the plane is just trashed. So all this stuff, and like I guess Goldust was like spitting his chewing tobacco in like the seats. You know how like you have the seats and like the little thing in front of you for your stuff. Right. He was just spitting like in the thing and just not caring. So they get like they find Goldust, and then they fired Mr. Perfect because he cuts. I can't remember the wrestler, but it was X-Pac. He cut while X-Pac was knocked out. He cut off his ponytail.
Wow.
And they had like a long ponytail like of hair. And so I didn't think because of the destruction of fighting Brock. Oh, and apparently before the flight, in Europe, Goldust, I don't know if you remember, but Goldust's wife, she was like a manager, like she would do stuff, and she was kind of involved also. I can't think of her name. She was in Europe with them. And I guess in Europe, like Brock Lesnar like exposed himself to her or something. Like she walked in the room and he was just there naked, and he's just like, "What up?" And I guess Goldust was in the room also, and I don't know. And I guess Goldust ran. He was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. That was nothing. He wasn't trying to do anything to you." So just all this crazy stuff is going on, and then obviously, and this is coming from JR's perspective, and so. And because Scott Hall was so passed out, one of the wrestlers, I think it was Tommy Dreamer, had to like put him on a wheelchair and put some shades on him and like wheel him like Weekend at Bernie's through the airport and through the paparazzi and all that stuff. And I think there was actually police there, and it ended up being this big, big scandal. And so, yo, Adrian, in a Rocky voice, yo, Adrian, hey, yo, Vince, I could do WrestleMania. That was terrible. Okay, so they fired Mr. Perfect. Oh, and a month later, Mr. Perfect died. That was also a big deal, is that they fired him and then he died. And then they fired Scott Hall because of drug addictions. And then they find Goldust. And then the interviewer asked JR, "What about Ric Flair?" And then it essentially came down to he was so established and like he wasn't like touchable, you know, that they just let it go. Like they let it go. There was
shrugged it off. Yeah.
They shrugged it off, and he was like, "Do I feel bad about that? Yeah, it's up to you to decide whether But they were the woman. So they paid that flight attendant off with a settlement, and I guess the woman's husband back because she was like from Australia. She was like, "No, we need to stay silent about this. We'll just take the money, and we don't want to damage we don't want our child to be tied to this, and we'll just shut up about it." So here we are, like 20 years later, and this all came out last year, and so she's talking to Vice about all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and Tommy Dreamer had the best point. And I'm not trying to say that this woman deserved to be treated that way. That's clearly not. I'm not condoning what Ric Flair did
Right.
or what any of them did. But Tommy Dreamer had a good point, and he said if it was as heinous and as offensive and despicable of an action of what event actually happened to her as she's claiming now, then by all means, she should have gone to the police and fought with the full extent of the law and pressed charges.
What's up,
if she
Jacob?
felt that way. But she didn't. She took the money and took the settlement. And here we are talking about it. So he's like, if it was as despicable of a offense as she's claiming, of him like cornering her like naked and doing the helicopter, why didn't you should you have done something about it then? And this is obviously a larger topic and a larger discussion, you know what I mean? And so, but I just thought he had a good point. And he even said, like, by all means, I agree. I think she should have gone, but she didn't. So it's just a big. You can, if you just Google the plane ride from hell, WWF plane ride from hell, all this shit will come up. And so that happened throughout the week, and then the weekend, and then they start Monday Night Raw, and then guess what? It's WWE. It's not even like they're just. It's like almost like the official end of the Attitude Era or something.
That's intense. That's pretty crazy.
Right.
Wow.
Crazy. You never heard about it either?
No. Well, okay. I heard about a plane ride and how shit went like it was like a crazy ass plane ride and shit, and just Vince just didn't care for it or whatever. Like, I didn't know it was called the plane ride from hell or whatever. Yeah. But I just heard like there was just a party plane that happened on fucking WWF. But that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, we'll get more to some of that crazy shit a little later. My brother's got a question. If y'all could meet any WWE pro wrestler, would you want to meet and why? I'm picking Austin 316 all the way.
Ooh.
That's like, I mean, obviously, yeah, that would be great. To have like some beers with him or drink with him, that would be tight.
And is this? I guess this has to be active because he's choosing Austin 316.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm one of these guys that has a soft spot for Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I don't know, like when I was a kid in like the 90s, like that WrestleMania or Hulkamania hype, like it just, like I said, with his movies, and then NWO, he was like a bad guy, but it was like he was like Spider-Man with the symbiote suit on, like it was like badass, like I don't know, Hulk Hogan would be cool, especially in his old age, and I don't know, he's got some. Undertaker, I think, would be cool because he's from Houston also, so
yeah,
I want to talk to him about that. Austin is from Edna. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I guess
there's a lot of wrestlers.
Also,
there's a lot of wrestlers that came from out of this area.
Michaels,
Shawn Michaels, Mark Henry. Who else? Booker T.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah, there's quite a few.
So I remember back in the day, I used to go to the www.wwf.com, and you look at all of the wrestling bios, and it would say where everybody was from. But Undertaker, it always said
Death
Valley, always Death Valley. What? And it wasn't even until maybe 10 years ago I learned that he was from Houston.
I actually Googled Death Valley once.
Oh, Nevada? Yeah. Death Valley, Nevada.
Well, there's one place that popped up. It was in California.
Okay.
Yeah, but mine, what I would choose would probably be Edge.
Oh yeah,
I
dude.
fucking loved Edge.
Dude, I did too. I actually in the tag team era
Tag
of the
team
like
era, yeah.
Attitude Era, dude, he was like, him and Christian were just like, because they didn't have like a gimmick to their act. They weren't like the Dudley Boys or the Hardy Boys. They were just Edge and Christian, and they were the champs, and they kept winning the championship belts. And I don't know, man. Um, I guess there was that era where they went all. They were one of the Undertaker's followers that are acolytes of Undertaker, something
Right.
like that, and they were like with that vampire guy.
They were part of the Brood.
That's right.
The Brood.
But dude, yeah, okay. So after a bunch of people leave, Undertaker, Rock, Austin, so they were given like Edge a push, a big push, because that was the era with like the heavyweight championship and like Vicky Guerrero and the Rated R Superstar.
Right.
They were, and I think Christian had gone to TNA Wrestling at the time, so Christian wasn't even in the company anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, when he got his neck injury and had to leave for like 10 years,
He left
and
as
then
a
when he
heavyweight
came,
champion. Yeah, he left as a
yeah,
world heavyweight champion.
that's right. Yeah, he left as the champion. That's crazy. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But when that entrance at, I don't know what Royal Rumble it is, but
3
when
years
he came
ago.
back, well, I was it.
It was
Or
right,
was
right,
there another-
right before when
I feel
COVID
like
hit.
there was two of them. There's
Right,
two of them.
right before I was supposed to go to that Royal Rumble. It happened at Minute Bay Park. I was supposed to go. A bunch of us were supposed to go, and everyone started dipping out the last minute. And I got pissed. Like I wanted to go see the Royal Rumble because we already saw like Elimination Chamber. We saw a Raw episode. Give me 1 second. Hang on.
You're good. What's the dog's name?
Frankie. Anywho. But yeah, so we were all supposed to go, and everyone ended up bailing. And if I'm not mistaken, like maybe a couple of days, it could have even been the next day. That's when like COVID like kind of like hit, and they started just shutting down stuff.
Oh wow.
But I remember like we were supposed to go to that Royal Rumble, and we did not, and I was super upset because
Yeah.
till this day, one of the greatest comebacks out of all history. Like after being
Oh
gone,
yeah, dude. The crowd pop, the audience buzz, and the pop in that auditorium, in
Yeah.
that stadium was so. You're right. I think exactly what you said. To this day, is like one of the biggest like holy shit moments. Like
he was
he's back,
gone
like,
for 9 years.
dude, they made it sound like he wasn't going to be able to ever return.
Oh yeah, no, like
Ever return.
I didn't think he would ever return too, but then he showed up at a pay-per-view. I don't remember what it was. I think it was at a WrestleMania pay-per-view. He just, showed up because some guy was talking shit about Canada or whatever, and then he just went over there, looked him in the eye, and then just speared his ass, and then just left. That just gave me a glimpse. I'm like, all right, he's able to hit a spear. Like, no,
Yeah.
like is he good to go? I mean, what is this? And then
Okay, so I remember like this is like 2011, and on Netflix at the time they had a whole bunch of wrestling documentaries and bios and stuff like that, and one of them was about Edge, and it was like what he's doing nowadays, and it was showing him living in like the hills of like Canada in like a cabin, and he's got his truck, and he just lives a simple life, chopping wood and hiking and living like Rocky, like in the Colorado, like mountains.
Yep. Him and Beth
And then-
Phoenix.
Dude, and then yeah, to see it. Okay, so wasn't there a Royal Rumble, another one where he showed up, but then Christian showed up? I feel like I saw something like that. Like Christian showed up. And
If
it
it
was
were
like a
if it
reunion.
was supposed to be it could have been last year's Royal Rumble, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, it may have been last year's Royal Rumble. I would have to honestly rewatch it, but I know what you're talking about. Like they were in the Royal Rumble match. I think it was last year. Could have been 2 years ago. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but no.
Yeah, COVID screwed a lot of stuff up, dude. I remember feeling so bad for the company whenever the first time they had like a televised event, and it was like all the screens and like nobody in the audience, but they're still trying to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
They're
you got
trying.
Goldberg back, and it's like, God, like I get it, because even like watching like all the late shows and stuff like that, and like there's no audience, it's like, God, could y'all just like take a vacation? Like,
That
y'all have to do this? Like,
COVID caused a lot of problems too because um Goldberg was supposed to have a championship match against Roman,
oh
and
yeah,
and I forget which pay per view it was supposed to be at, but Roman ended up calling out at the last minute because this is like him still like in recovering from I guess leukemia or cancer or whatever,
mm-hmm.
and he didn't want to risk like getting sick and making that much of a harder issue for him to deal with. So he just decided to bail out of that match, and they ended up like scrapping something together and doing something else. Um,
Yeah, I heard Goldberg came back because he had children, and he wanted his children to see him in action
yeah,
and wrestle in action. So that was one of the reasons he was like, all right, I'll do it.
which I mean
Hey,
his
let me ask you something. Are you're streaming on YouTube right now?
I'm on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch right
Okay,
now. Yeah.
gotcha. Okay, everybody, go check out Eli's YouTube channel. I'm putting the link in the bio. He's streaming this right now, but you should check out his other live streams and everything
Yeah,
on Twitch as well.
yeah. All the links are on the YouTube page, the Facebook page, and the Twitch page. Like, it has all the links to every one of them, even the TikTok, which I'm starting to do TikTok videos for.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, just funny little things I do in Fortnite or whatnot. So it's pretty funny.
yeah,
But
yeah, dude. When you got all your friends and stuff, and everybody's talking and talking trash, and then something crazy happens,
yeah.
that shit's funny.
Um, but I wanna talk about a certain individual that some people might, not really agree with.
Oh wait, real quick, can we? My brother just asked a question before we get to what you're saying. What do y'all think was the best storyline in WWE? I'd say Kane Taker brothers story.
Okay, I
I
would.
would say the Montreal screw job with
Okay,
Brett Michaels and or Brett Michaels. I mean Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. Bret Michaels,
Brett Michael.
Poison.
Okay. So
Talk dirty to me.
for the longest, it used to be yes, the Undertaker and Kane like storyline and stuff like it was really good. Um, as for like right now, there's a kind of a current storyline going on at the moment. It's really fucking good. It's basically with Roman and his cousins and kind of how that started where like I don't really want to like talk about it at like go into detail as much because I really would want y'all to see it, but it's just like he wants to be the head of the family, the head of the table, like the main guy that that just he
And
runs
this
the
is like
show.
the Rock's family,
This
also,
is the
right?
Rock's
Like
family.
that
Like
lineage.
he
Yeah.
wants to be the guy like in the family and whatnot. And then he's just like beating the shit out of his cousins to like make him like acknowledge the fact that he's gonna be the number one guy, and they just have to support him whatever he does, basically carry his bags and stuff like that. And the way like that storyline was being put together, it was kind of dark. It was just it was I don't even know how to put it into
And
words.
that's recently, right?
This happened probably like within the last 2 years,
Okay,
and
so I heard whenever Stephanie and Triple H and he took over creative and she took over kind of the company,
right,
that they were gonna try and do more edgier stuff that like kind of throwing it back to old times.
yeah. So
So
yeah,
it's kind of make sense what you're saying.
but for Roman, like there's this one week where I guess he kind of forgot his lines, and so he just kind of winged it, and everybody fucking loved it.
Oh, right.
No. Everyone fucking loved it. And so they kind of just started letting him doing it on his own, just letting
Oh.
him wing it. And it was probably one of the like, you know, mesmerizing like storylines that you could probably hang on to because like it leads to him like beating the shit out of his cousin and literally like trying to like bash his whole body in with the steel steps or whatever, and then his twin brother comes in and tries to save him saying like, what are you doing, like we were supposed to be family, this isn't us, this isn't you, remember how we were kids and playing around, this it's just the storylines is actually really fucking great. And there's another one with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt's a really great person to create his own character and actually just like do what he got to do with it. Um, but as for storylines though, like if I were to say top three, Romans would be in one of them. Take Canada Undertaker would be another one. Um, and I'm pretty sure there is another one that I know
Well,
I'm missing.
the Austin McMahon feud just throughout the years, them
That
just it's like Joker and Batman. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
pretty
It's like this
much, pretty much.
infinite rivalry that's just always chaos. Like,
Yeah. Man. Uh, um, I liked Evolution storyline.
yeah.
Evolution
Oh,
storyline was
I was
pretty.
thinking about that today because it was the best way. So this is when Triple H was in his, what do they call it? The reign of terror.
Yeah.
So he just was always the champ, and nobody could stand a chance. But Evolution gave Orton and Batista a push. And I remember I saw Batista's first appearance on SmackDown as well. So Devon from the Dudley Boys, because Devon and Bubba Ray got separated from the brand split of the draft that year. And so Devon started doing this thing where he was Reverend Devon.
Yeah.
And so he had Batista hold the offering box and like go around, and they would take money for like the prosperity gospel and the Lord. And like Batista guarded the money, and people would try and take the money, and he'd whoop their ass. And then eventually just Batista became his own guy and badass. But what you're talking about with that storyline, it's like Orton wins the championship, and then they screw him over, and Triple H has got to be the top guy. And then the same thing happens with Batista.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. I felt like for a little while, and it was Cena and Batista because they were both the like champs.
Yeah.
And it's funny that now their like movie career or their acting careers are both taking off at the same time. And you know what? And I want to be held on record for saying this. And you know what? I'm gonna clip what I'm about to say. I think both of them are way better than The Rock. Dead serious. I think both of them are way better and more like I could take them serious as actors. We're getting rated. What's up? What's up, James? How you doing, man? But yeah, I don't think The Rock's like that bad, but like
okay.
they're both really good.
My dispute against that, it's I can see where that's happening because I feel like Rock is in every fucking movie that's going out like for the past few years now. Like he's in fucking everything, and like you want to like have like I guess when you think of American Pie, you think of Sean William Scott like as Stifler or whatever. When you think of like when you think of Harry Potter, you like everyone has like solidified who their character, Vin Diesel and fucking Fast and Furious or whatever. It's just for The Rock, it's just great actor, great mic skills and everything like that.
Totally.
But it's just I feel like he's in too many movies and so close together like within the years. And it's just as for John Cena and Batista, which right now Batista's claiming that he doesn't want to do Groot anymore at all. Like not Groot, Drax, I'm sorry. He doesn't want to do Drax anymore, but like Cena's not in every movie or he's not in every he's kind of spread out or whatever and just trying to kind of own in his craft where The Rock's good to a certain extent, but he's in everything, so you're kind of just getting tired of seeing The Rock in like
Yeah.
absolutely everything.
Because on social media, it's not even just in movies. It's like, he's got Young Rock, and then he's got it. I'm not hating on his, because I think it's good. It's smart to have these like tequila companies and all these things. Like that's just good business. But
Yeah.
like, it's like you're exactly right. Like it's just too much.
Yeah, it is.
I watched Black Adam for the first time like 2 weeks ago.
Your opinion?
Yeah, if it had come out in the '90s when The Rock was a wrestler, and it was like Scorpion King, that whole era of like '90s movies, I would have said, "Oh, this is a fun movie." But like, if you're gonna compare it to like other DC movies or like especially amazing Marvel movies,
Yeah.
I mean, not all Marvel movies are amazing, but like the ones that are good are really good. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, dude, Black Adam was terrible.
I didn't go see it in theaters, and I have it on HBO, I believe.
Yeah.
It's paused at I think maybe 17 minutes, 18 minutes or whatever, and I never went back to go finish it. I just didn't care to watch it.
Hey, now I'm playing the Royal Rumble 2008.
Nice.
But yeah, man. So I just remember. So after 2007, I checked out. I really didn't care. We were getting older, and there was a lot of people that would make fun of me for liking wrestling, and so I just kind of tuned out. But like I remember the kids, like your brother Joel and JD, they loved John Cena, and that was John Cena's era, and so that's where like where I have a soft spot for that era, the ruthless aggression sort of John Cena era.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember they would go to the live events and they were still into it, and like Undertaker would still be like very much into it. So,
thank you for the likes, Lika. Thank you.
Yeah, last night was Raw's 30th anniversary.
I watched it.
Oh yeah, man, it crazy. And you know what? I remember when it was the 10th anniversary. I watched that episode, and they were showing highlights and clips from the early '90s of the. So I guess before the Attitude Era, a lot of people call it the New Generation era.
Yeah, the PG
so like
era.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels and Diesel and.
Oh yeah. There was the Ruthless Aggression. There was the Attitude Era. There was.
Because Hulk Hogan's age is like the golden era.
Yeah,
like
the golden era.
70s and 80s are like the golden era. But like the early 90s are like, because they were changing the company up.
Right.
And so they wanted to like try and do things differently to compete. Because this was before WCW went all edgy and dark also.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's this weird, it's like as the 90s went on, it just got darker and crazier and violent, like it just. But yeah, last night was Raw's 30th anniversary, and I would have liked to have seen Hulk Hogan do a little bit more, but whatever. It was good seeing him.
Notice I'm going to talk about last night's episode because I was expecting a lot more, and it was okay. I guess I want to say like the matches from last night that was the top of the line was the tag team match just right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
The Bellas didn't even show up, and they were on the card just saying, "Oh, they're going to show up," and blah 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 blah. They didn't even show up at all. Kind of figure that's kind of what happens when they advertise, "Oh, someone's going to be there," and they have they have their face on the card, and they just don't even show up. Everyone was hoping like The Rock would show up or Cody Rhodes.
A lot of people were talking about The Rock showing up.
But
if there was ever a SmackDown anniversary, he would have to show up.
Obviously, yeah.
No, without a doubt. Like, and in fact, that would be more appropriate. Like,
but
dude, so WrestleMania last year, Austin had his first match in like 12, 13 years or something like that.
He did.
And so what's the name of that wrestler that he fought?
Kevin Owens.
So he was like throughout the weeks was like talking smack, like and trying to hype it up, like calling him out, like. And so Austin comes out and he's just like ready to rumble, dude. That's awesome. Because right before his last match was with The Rock at WrestleMania 19.
Right.
in which The Rock won, because that was their WrestleMania trio. They have like a trilogy, because before that it was WrestleMania 17, and that was at the Houston Astrodome,
Right.
which is, I don't know if you knew this, but often regarded as the best WrestleMania. I don't know what you think about that.
I can see that.
But yeah, The Rock finally got his victory.
Yeah.
Hey, you're getting a comment on your YouTube. Hi guys, from Nico Cerezo. How you doing?
On YouTube. What's not popping up for me? Oh, there it goes. What's up, Nico? How you doing? Welcome in, buddy. For so Kevin Owens, his finisher is the Stunner. Same as Stone Cold Steve Austin. And it was originally supposed to be like it's just like a talk show kind of thing, a host and like just talking shit to him, which everyone knew was going to turn into a match. The match was decent. It wasn't like great because Steve Austin's a little bit like old and rusty and stuff like that. And
quick question, Joni's asking, where are y'all both from? We're both from Texas. So you're from like this Houston area. That's where we both are. We live now.
Yeah.
I'm from originally South Texas, from the Valley.
Yeah, born and raised over here.
Well, what were you saying, Eli?
No, I was just saying it was an okay match. I mean, of course, everyone wants to see that one more match from all these different legends and stuff like that.
Totally.
And it's always great to see, especially like you said, him strapping up or doing one more match. I thought that was awesome.
Just one last one. Because at the time, during that era, Stone Cold was kind of in and out, kind of like The Rock. Like they weren't really fully there. You know what I mean? It was during that ruthless aggression era. And do you know the story of WrestleMania 19? What happened the night before? Austin got rushed to the ER. He had like a heart attack, or he felt like he was having a stroke or something. And it essentially came down to being dehydrated and then being on caffeine and alcohol. But he had like a panic attack, and it was the night before WrestleMania when he was going to fight The Rock. And so a lot of people theorize that he was supposed to win, and that Vince changed it last minute because of like behavioral, like, no, like because of this happened, like I think The Rock deserves it. And so that's what people think. And then right after that, that was his last match, and then he wouldn't be seen again until like he would only referee matches, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think he had like a mini fallout with the company, or it just got kind of burnt out of everything. But yeah, he totally like had like a mini heart attack the night before WrestleMania.
That's crazy.
They didn't think he was gonna be able to wrestle, like clear him. Like, they didn't want to clear him. They were like, and then they let it happen. Show must go on.
They've definitely gotten better. We got a question. Nico's watching from Argentina.
Hey, how you doing?
Who is gonna win the Royal Rumble for you guys?
Ooh, that's a good question.
So everyone is obviously saying it's gonna be Cody Rhodes. It could be Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn would be another interesting name to be thrown in there. If they do decide to scrap the plans with The Rock and Roman, who knows? As for who else, Randy, I don't want to say Randy. Maybe could be Randy. Randy is due to come back. I'm not sure if he'll come back just then. But I mean, if I were to pick who they're going to have win, is probably going to be Cody Rhodes. I'd like to see. I like the push they're doing with Sammy right now in the storyline, so I'd probably say I'd like to see Sammy win. Sami Zayn would actually be an interesting plot twist to this winning the Royal Rumble if Roman were to keep his titles right now. But
see, for me, I always it's for me personally, it's less about who wins the Rumble, as I'm more interested in who pops up, who's gonna make an appearance.
Yeah.
Even like when they do like the women's Rumble and like Lita shows up or something, I'm like, oh shit, like so I don't know. So like if someone like Edge or Bubba Ray or RVD or anybody shows up, because I remember when I was young, and then you'd see people pop in, and it would be like Cactus Jack and like the Big Boss Man or the Iron Sheik or
Roddy Rod
oh
Piper.
love him, rest in peace.
Who
Um,
else? Great Khali would still show up sometimes.
Jimmy Superfly Snuka,
Oh man,
yeah, the
just
Great Khali.
or
You know,
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
oh, that's right, dude.
Man, that's good shit.
Hey, do you know about Jimmy Superfly Snuka controversy?
uh, someone was talking about it just literally like last week, and I forgot what we were talking about. Uh, but go ahead. Maybe I'll
Oh,
refresh my
just that
memory.
like in the 80s, his girlfriend died, and the autopsy, the coroner discovered a lot of like implications of like her being like abused and like in defense, like fighting, like being like killed. And so the first suspect was him, and I guess like Vince did all the talking, and like I don't know, it's rumored that like Vince bought the police department because there wasn't enough evidence, so they just like it became a cold case.
Oh wow.
But more recently, the woman's family like wanted to actually go through with the investigation, and so were gonna like press charges and start an investigation, but because he was so old at this point, and this is more recently, that he didn't stand a fit trial. Like he was like had dementia and like poor health,
Really?
and then 2 weeks after they declared that he was too ill fit to stand trial, he actually died.
Oh shit.
He died, and so now there's just the controversy of like whether it happened or didn't happen. Did he beat his girlfriend to death and get away with it? It just is one of those things that we'll never know. But isn't that crazy? It's all universally agreed that Vince did the talking. Like it's this weird thing that like, yeah, Vince did the talking. Like, do you know who the fabulous Moolah is?
Of course.
Do you know about that controversy?
I do not, but Nico has chimed in with one more thing. Hang
Oh
on.
what you got?
He said men and the fans changed a lot. I think that the pop of today doesn't compare with the pop, well, for with other years. Now, you're so boring. Nobody stands up and screams. That's why I love AEW fans. So okay, so when I went to the Elimination Chamber, um, this was when they gave Kofi the push to like like
Kofi
later on
Kingston.
Kofi Kingston gave him the
I
push
miss I
to
miss his Jamaican accent.
yeah right
That disappeared.
the fake motherfucker anyway um like everybody like I shit you not like was so fucking hype. It comes in waves. Like I know I see what Nico's talking about. Like people are just like hardly just sitting down. They're not so as active anymore and stuff like that. And I get it
Mhm.
because like mainly you're gonna have like at these WWE events you're gonna have these kids just all going crazy when they see their favorite superstar or whatever, and then the parents are just there because they don't see their guys there anymore. But when you go to AEW and you see them doing like a barbed wire like fence match or whatever, like with
Yeah.
John Moxley and I think it was John Moxley and somebody else. I forgot who was in there. Like I was just talking about earlier. Like our kind of show that we grew up on. That's the kind of stuff we like seeing. Them pulling out a stop sign and swinging at it, or someone getting put through a table that's set on fire. Like,
Yeah.
I get what you completely mean. It definitely has changed, and but like, just for as in like kids today, if you like, granted, you put that in WWE since it's a bigger, more like I guess fan pool, like for viewers wise, you're gonna have that one dumb motherfucker that literally lights something on fire or find some way to figure out how to like build a casket and end up burying somebody and then end up like something fucked up happening and shit like that.
Yeah.
I think they're just trying to stay away from that because, like, I remember growing up, like, people would, like, there would be, like, things on the news, or I'll just see something like on MySpace or whatever, like, people would get in trouble because, like, oh, why would you hit somebody with a steel chair, or why would you choke somebody out, or why would you throw somebody like on this like on this pile of like bricks or like wood or whatever? Oh, I saw it on wrestling, and
Yeah.
then people like parents would like go right
Parents'
after.
worst
Yeah,
nightmare.
yeah,
Yeah.
parents would go straight for the source. I don't appreciate y'all like this like happening and my kids watching this. And so for the longest my mom did not like me watching like wrestling at all, just because of the fact that like it's
Hmm.
just I grew up in a family of 8. We were always like wrestling each other like right like, and then
Yeah.
I remember like my mom did not watching this, and then literally like the next week my dad ends up bringing us to like a SmackDown show or whatever. It's pretty fucking hilarious. But
Yeah.
but um
I went to a SmackDown show.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty dope, but I see what you mean. The fan base has definitely changed. People are not as interactive because they don't see the superstars, or they're not giving the current stars right now a chance to
Right.
give them a chance to like give them time to invest in like how they invested in Shawn Michaels, The Rock, Steve
Exactly.
Austin. Like right now, like I said, I didn't really care to watch wrestling like probably I guess 4 or 5 years ago or whatever because it
Exactly.
was just too childish. I didn't really care. I mean, whatever. But
Exactly.
like now, right now, like storylines are actually getting better. Um, the Forbidden Door is now opened.
Yeah, that
Um,
sounds cool.
yeah. There's a lot more things that you have a chance to get invested in. Like for right now, okay. For instance, some people are not going to agree with what I'm about to say. But let's start with CM Punk.
Oh yeah, dude.
Okay, so CM
Straight Edge
Punk,
Society.
CM Punk was, you know,
He got a big push back in the day, and
he
then
got okay.
he disappeared.
He got a good big push. First, so he was butting heads with Triple H. He was like not really like giving a shit. And like before any of that, he was part of
Yeah.
ECW. Like, oh, that was
Yeah.
owned by WWE, but ECW, and like
Yeah. Yeah.
he showed up in a few matches and stuff like that. And no one really cared. Like even he was part of the Straight Edge Society as well. Like he had his own little group with Luke Gallows and whatever. And like no
That's how I
one,
learned what straight edge was.
yeah,
I didn't know what that was
exactly.
because I was really much into like the rock scene, and I'd go to like Jaron Hall's shows and stuff.
Yeah,
But I didn't know what that was, and so he's talking straight edge society. And at the time, wasn't drinking or smoking or anything,
right.
and so I was like, "Wait, am I straight edge? Like, am I part of a society that I didn't even know about?"
But yeah. But what really set him off was his pipe bomb incident.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Do you know about what the fuck is up with the pipe bomb incident?
So the
I
pipe
know
bomb,
what happened, but like, why is it called the pipe bomb incident?
because it was like one of the first times where somebody like got on the mic on a live television on a big like sold out arena and just went off and just just spoke his mind and like off the script kind of thing. And this is like something that obviously Vince McMahon was not okay with, and he just said a lot of shit that he wished that would happen and how WWE sucks today and it was better back then, and he just wished like Vince McMahon would die already or something like that. Just random, he just went off. And like granted, yes, it was if it was a planned promo, which I doubt it was. Who knows? Great, but it did open a bunch of things to where like people are now just really speaking whatever the fuck they want. Like
Yeah.
John Cena saying some shit that's not scripted, like telling Roman, if you want to do a promo, kid, you got to know how to do it. That this is the big leagues now, just stuff like that. But
Yeah.
like CM Punk's a great wrestler. He's definitely mastered his craft, but he doesn't like, how to put this. He's not like a Seth Rollins to where, like, how do I put this? CM Punk had to like say a bunch of shit and like kind of shake things around just by using a microphone, just to like get his name blown up and out there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And as for Seth Rollins, yeah, he was part of a 3-man group. He came from the Indies,
The Shield.
the
Yeah.
Shield. He was part of the 3-man group, but as soon as that kind of split off, like each individually, they had to like maintain who they are and stuff like that. And Seth Rollins did it better than all of them at the time, but with giving the limitations they were allowed to do. Um, Seth Rollins just made the best of it. And then I felt like Dean Ambrose, he wanted something better for his character. He wasn't really giving it, so he wasn't really giving it his all. Roman, they were trying to make him the next John Cena or whatever and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But as for Seth Rollins,
It seemed like for the most part, he is the only. When it comes to main events and pay-per-views, I mean, he's the guy on the front. He's been the baby face for years.
Yeah, he has, and it's just because like everyone kind of got old, like got tired of watching like Roman versus Brock Lesnar, Roman versus John Cena,
dude.
Roman. I mean, granted, it's been given chance after chance. I mean, it's kind of the same thing how John Cena was. John Cena got matches like, obviously John Cena busted his ass. No, I'm not discrediting John Cena, but it's just, it's like John Cena's worth ethic is in. I'm not saying Roman's lazy, but I feel like Seth Rollins, given the chance, given the spotlight, he could fill John Cena's shoes, like with the worth ethic and stuff like that. And it's just like going back to CM Punk. CM Punk is great and all, but what really just made him go onto the map and everyone just loved him is just because of an episode on Raw on what he had to say. And that's what blew CM Punk off. And if when it came to like in a match, in both of their primes, Seth Rollins would out wrestle CM Punk. Like it's just, I'm not saying.
You just said it though. It all comes down to one life-changing promo on a random episode, like The Rock. He was Rocky Maivia and he was getting booed. All he had to do was just talk back to the crowd and die, Rocky, die. And then he joined the Legion of Domination, the Nation of Domination, and became like an anti-establishment type of. And then everybody started being into him. You know what I mean? They were die, Rocky, die, and then
But yeah.
Hey, I was thinking we could take a quick break. I definitely have some more crazy stuff I want to talk about, but I'm gonna take a quick break. All right.
I got you. Same here.
I'm gonna leave the stream running, but I'll be back.
I got you. I'll be right back, guys.
I said, chill. Up and down, that's fine. Just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I make him hot. I make him shiver. Then he's get weak. Whenever I'm around, they see me walk. They hear me talk. I make them feel like they're on cloud nine. I'm just a sexy boy.
All right. All right. So I'm just gonna go off what's off the top of my head. If you have any crazy stories or any sort of things, um, I think the one I want to mention, but I don't want to get too into, is it's the one that's a lot of people talk about, and it's the Macho Man Randy Savage and Stephanie McMahon entanglement.
Yeah.
So there's just rumors and yada yada yada. It's all out there. Um, yeah. I just she was underage, so it makes kind of talking about it weird. But yeah. Anyway, that's a thing. Also, Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels apparently are lovers.
Wait.
Apparently, some people think that they are romantically involved, and that's why Shawn Michaels always got the push and has always been And even when he came back to the company, he's always got the push. So that one's ridiculous.
I've never heard that in my life.
Yeah. Okay, so what I was talking about earlier with the Fabulous Moolah. Okay, so they were gonna have this like big event, and it was gonna be the Fabulous Moolah's Battle Royale.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess like Snickers was one of the sponsors of that pay-per-view, so they changed it to just the Women's Battle Royale. It's because there was a lot of like allegations and all this stuff came out. And
Right.
I have some of it right here. Over the years, various female wrestlers have come forward with stories accusing Ellison of being a pimp who often provided various wrestling promoters with unsuspected female wrestlers that would be used as sex objects. Penny Banner directly described Moolah as a pimp who, in return for money, rented her female trainees out in bulk to wrestling promoters, so that promoters and the male wrestlers could have sex with them. Banner said the women who were sent on these tours were not told of this arrangement ahead of time, and that those refused to have sex with wrestlers and promoters were raped. Damn. One of the most notorious accusations in this is from the family of Sweet Georgia Brown, who was trained by Moolah and her husband, Buddy Lee. The Columbia Free Times reported allegations made by her daughter in 2006, in which she said the mother who told her she was often raped, given drugs, and made an addict in an intentional attempt by Ellison. Wow. Mad Maxine, which she was like a punk rock wrestler in the mid-90s. Mad Maxine described Moolah as an evil person, saying Moolah made money by sending trainees out to this guy in Arizona and pimped them out.
Wow.
Ellison abusing alcohol and having sex with her female... Oh, okay, wait, hold on. I skipped something. Vivian Vacon witnessed Ellison abusing alcohol and having sex with her female trainees. Sandy Parker, a lesbian former pupil of Ellison's, also claimed that Ellison forbade her from going to any gay bars and tried to press her to date men. Parker says this enraged her because Moolah was two-faced because she had her own little dalliances that we all knew about. However, several former coworkers have spoken up in Ellison's defense. Moolah wasn't the kind of person. Jerry Lawler said he never heard or saw anything like that when I was in the business around Moolah and her girls. So yeah, essentially there was like specific promotions that she was having these, you know how like before you get to the big time show, you got to start off on the smaller independent promotions. Well, she was sending these women out to these like training promotions, and there was these like crazy expectations, and because of her reputation, they could only go through her. Meaning, if you wanted to have a successful career as a women wrestler, you had to go through Moolah's process to get to the WWF level.
Really?
So it was essentially you had to go through the fabulous Moolah's process and all that crazy shit just to even become somebody. And so this all didn't come out till like the early 2000s. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So isn't that all crazy?
That's.
Mae Young. Do you remember Mae Young?
I remember Mae Young. It's surprising, but not surprising to me, based on like as much shit has been going on behind closed doors with WWE and shit.
Exactly.
I wouldn't put it past them.
When I heard the allegations of Vince McMahon recently, the first thing I thought was, wait, is this part of the thing? Or is this kayfabe? Or, like, is this part of the script? Or is this real? Like, because it sounded like things that had happened in the past. Like, I remember there was him and he had an affair with Trish Stratus,
Mm-hmm.
and it sent Linda McMahon into, like, some sort of catatonic state where she was being wheelchaired around in, like, a vegetable.
Yeah.
She just was so distraught.
Wow.
And I was like, what the hell? Like, that sounds... yeah.
That's crazy.
Have you heard any crazy shit? Do you know any stories?
Well, I hear every once in a while, like, how come WWE won't acknowledge or put Chris Benoit into, like, the Hall of Fame, or like, or just, like, in memory of him and stuff like that, which I feel like that's asking for a bit much. I mean, Chris Benoit was a great performer.
Often described as the best technical wrestler.
Yes. But as for a company, you don't really want to, like, how do you put this? Let's say if they do put him in the Hall of Fame, you have to come into some video or storyline or hype about him. Rest in peace, yada, yada, yada. Oh, how did he die? Well, matter of fact, he killed his family and he killed himself. Yada, yada, yada. It's just like, I don't think any brand or any kind of business would want to, like, have that surrounding their kind of business, like, within their name and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, it would be like if OJ was convicted guilty. What would the NFL do? Would the NFL just erase OJ completely? Like, my dad has OJ Simpson football cards from, like, the 70s. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and so, like in the games, like, you still had his entrances, you still had his signature moves, you still had, like, it's basically, you could recreate him. You could still put on his attire and stuff like that. It's just like I don't see. I see the point why they're not doing it, and just for people that are not really getting it, like, would you want to? I mean, yes, he was a great wrestler. I mean, fantastic, but on how he passed away and stuff, you don't want to put someone there and then that's where it leads to, and then just be some kind of controversy, as in where, like, when Umaga passed away.
oh yeah,
They didn't really, like, I guess, really acknowledge it as much, but now they're kind of doing it right now, to where, like, Solo, that's part of the bloodline with Roman Reigns right now, he's doing things on how Umaga used to be with, like, the Samoan spike. He's doing, like, how Umaga used to run from one corner to the other and, like hit you in the face with his ass or whatever like that. It was actually, you could see so much of Umaga in him. And normally when the Usos do their, like their signature where they're about to, like, run from one corner to the other and, like, hip attack him, where there was, like, oh, paying homage to Umaga or whatever. I mean, I thought that's always pretty fucking cool.
Hey,
Um,
so I'll be completely honest. I don't know how Umaga died. Is it like
so
controversial? Like, is
no,
it
it wasn't
sensitive?
controversial. Like I never really went into like exactly how he did. Oh well, okay. I
Mhm.
apparently he died from a heart attack.
Okay,
Um,
like Eddie.
yeah.
But what was it
Um,
in the ring like Eddie also?
okay, so here's the thing. That's another thing I
That's
would like. That's
terrible.
another thing I would like to
That's
talk about.
heartbreaking, dude. Yeah, because I was gonna get to that in a little bit because that's a big. I remember because that's whenever I had moved to like Hungerford, and so I was around you, and I remember when all that happened with Eddie.
So apparently, okay, so the videos obviously went viral when Eddie had a heart attack inside the ring,
Mm-hmm.
but he didn't die that night. Apparently, he had another one in his hotel room. He missed the calling when everyone's supposed to wake up,
Oh,
and somebody went to go check up on him, and I think it was Briscoe, if I'm not mistaken, or somebody called Chavo and let him know about like, hey, Eddie passed away, bada bada bada, and then Chavo went to the hotel and everything like that. Everyone thinks it's happened in the ring, which yeah, that incident obviously did happen, but like he survived that, but he had another one in his hotel room, and rented fucking that Eddie Guerrero's was like death was like hella tragic because
yeah.
everybody fucking loved Eddie.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody like his
I
entrance
remember
was
when we were in sixth grade, even like some our classmates would do like the Eddie Guerrero like shoulder dance, and like they like we would all joke around like, yeah, Latino heat. That's what
the
they would call it.
his
Their
entrance with his height with
low
his lowrider
rider.
car and stuff like that, and then just he made everything
Because he was
fucking.
good also.
He
He was
was
good. Oh,
good.
he was good in WCW as well. And WCW, that was one thing I wanted to say about WCW is that they're like cruiserweight division and tag team division, like with Chris Jericho and uh, Rey Mysterio and
Right.
Eddie Guerrero and all these guys was really good. So when they came to the WWE, they like were really good. And so whenever it was like Eddie's getting his time, like to be the champ and battle like JBL and Undertaker and like all these guys, like that was a like 2005 and 2006. That was like a good era. And that was kind of when I was still phasing out, but I would watch it sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that was all so sad.
So
Oh,
Eddie.
so there's two incidences. You mentioned the video games earlier, and uh, how they like omitted some of those players from the game.
Hmm.
And so, 2006, there was a storyline in SmackDown versus Raw where it was Undertaker versus Eddie Guerrero, and like in the match, like in the storyline, in like the vignettes, like the CGI and everything, Undertaker, it's like a buried alive match, and he buries Eddie in like they bury him alive, and that's how you win. Um, and then he died that year. Well, the very next year in 2007, that's when everything with Chris Benoit happened, and that year's SmackDown versus Raw game, there was a storyline. It was called The Dead Man versus the Wolverine.
I
And
remember
it was
that.
like they were like they had this big build up, and then they fought, and then in the story he they're like talking about he's gonna put him to sleep and it's gonna be all this thing, and then he died that year. And it's like that's crazy, back to back years that would
Hmm.
happen with those guys that also died
Yeah.
with the Undertaker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned earlier about them omitting Chris Benoit and like the Hall of Fame and all this stuff. So uh, there was I don't remember which WrestleMania it was, but it was like a triple threat match. It was Triple H versus Shawn Michaels versus Chris Benoit. Was it WrestleMania 20?
Uh,
I'm not sure, but Chris Benoit won the heavyweight championship, and it was a big deal because Shawn, and this is before DX reunited, so Shawn
Right.
and Hunter were still like fighting a whole bunch.
right.
Which I remember me and my brother watched their SummerSlam 2002 fight, and it was a big deal because it was like I begged my parents to buy the pay-per-view, and that was not a common thing. They did not do that, but they did. And it was, yeah, they didn't even do WrestleMania that year, but they did this SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And dude, they had like Hunter and Shawn had a street fight. It wasn't even a real match. It was just a fight. It was
Wow.
badass. So there's rumors about so like okay, they omitted whenever you watch the pay-per-views on like Peacock or anything,
Mm-hmm.
they don't show the main event championship title match because it's Chris Benoit. So like they have the focus of the match be like the Undertaker and whatever else was going on.
I would have to look
The
into
streak,
that.
oh, that was when the streak became like, holy shit, this thing is like a real deal. Because for a while it was just like, oh, Undertaker is just winning at WrestleMania every year, but before he lost, it was like, holy shit. WrestleMania became about the streak.
Always,
Like
yeah.
when he came back and fought Kane, and then like year after year, whether it was Randy Orton, the Legend Killer, or Shawn
Batista,
Michaels,
Edge, yeah.
Shawn Michaels did him twice, Ric Flair once, I think, or I don't know. But dude, yeah, the streak became a thing. That was. I remember all that.
Yeah. And then Kurt Angle's retirement match.
Oh,
I
I
th-
don't remember that.
Yeah, well, this happened recently, I guess. Not recently, like a few years ago, where
On AEW or
no, it was WWE. There was this guy named what's his fucking name? Anyway, he has almost kind of like the same gimmick as Kurt Angle. He's an Olympic winner. Well, yeah, he's an Olympic champion. He kind of went to like the same wrestling schools and stuff like that. But what is they did a retirement match and I forgot who they gave it to. We want Fortnite. I forgot who they gave it to. But everyone was like wanting John Cena to the one that retires Kurt Angle in the last match, and they gave it to somebody else. I think it was AJ Styles, if I'm not mistaken.
So what's up with that guy? People seem to really like that guy, but I don't know
AJ
anything
Styles. So
about him.
AJ
Yeah.
Styles, he's an Indies wrestler that he went to the WWE really early, like in his younger age. He was actually, I think he popped up around like the Attitude Era, and it didn't really go over so well, and so he went to like New Japan Wrestling and Impact and stuff like that, and kind of crafted in who he needed to be. That's where the whole Bullet Club got formed up with like Finn Balor and Luke Gallows and everybody else, Carl Anderson, and he went back. And then I guess after his time with Impact, his contract was up, and he got in contact with WWE, wanted to push his name out to be a little bit bigger and stuff, and so he went back, and he's been killing it ever since he's been in the WWE. He returned at a Royal Rumble pay-per-view actually. He's main evented a few WrestleManias. Now he's kind of just like he hasn't been on the show in a few weeks. He's kind of like, just doing his own thing. There's rumor has it that he's going to show up at the New Japan World Wrestling pay-per-view that's coming up with them. I don't know what it's called, but just to like, him and the Bullet Club just to show out. I guess since now the Forbidden Door is a thing, now he's allowed to go do that. So that's AJ Styles. He's a really good technical wrestler, I guess you can say. He's a high flyer, I guess you can say.
So do you think if in the next 5 years, if they just with the right like writing and like character work and all this stuff, do you think they could turn some of these guys into like entertaining characters? Because that's one thing is like whether they're talented in the ring is one thing. It's like, are they entertaining to like even talk about like the Undertaker's entertaining, not because he's like this dead man, because he's like he likes all these motorcycles, he's a badass, like he'll talk about all this stuff. Stone Cold, like all these. Do you think there's multiple reasons to like care about some of these people?
I think it's more on like the story writer and how good that these people are playing their parts in the story in the story, like, and go off a little bit topic, like off of like last night's Raw pay-per-view. I mean, Bray Wyatt, he was, he's been killing ever since he had like the Fiend gimmick. He had his little fun playhouse gimmick or whatever. And last night, I kind of felt like when Undertaker was going to choke slam this guy and he just like threw the guy over to Bray Wyatt, I felt like that was like a passing of the fucking torch, because Bray Wyatt's gimmick is when he enters, it's nothing but darkness and he's carrying a lantern, kind of something spooky, something like creepy or whatever. That's kind of how Undertaker did it. And then when Undertaker was leaving, he whispered something in Bray Wyatt's ear. Like, I honestly think that's like the passing of the torch. And so
Undertaker's like the best character ever.
Yeah,
he's gimmick, the best
gimmick, the best dark gimmick, whatever. People try to copy it, and like, I would be perfectly happy with that. Like, if the torch was that was the actual passing of the torch, because Bray Wyatt's crafted creativity on his character and his storylines, it fits, it works. And he had, a WrestleMania actual match against Bray Wyatt, Undertaker and Bray Wyatt. And of course, Undertaker won. But, like...
How many years ago was that?
This was maybe, like... It could have been, like, 2019, 2018.
Hey, what happened to Daniel Bryan?
Daniel Bryan went to AEW. That was good.
Well, okay, so it's like he had this big push, and then they just never wanted to make him the top guy at WWE.
So okay,
like it seemed everybody liked him, and he had this big push, but then
so I've heard different stories, and the one that seems more realistic is he had his push, but like he wanted to become more, like, do more with his character, and once again Vince didn't want anything to do it. He just follow the line. He just had a kid, and he wanted to spend more time with the kid instead of being on like a on the road schedule like WWE actually has. And I'm not saying that's not what AEW does. I'm pretty sure AEW does something differently, but they have like enough talent to where they can fill the show, and still people will be talking about like the rivalry that Daniel having with like Chris Jericho or what's that guy, the MJFK or whatever his name, I don't know his fucking name. But I think it was just more like he wanted to be like closer with his family, and he also wanted to create his character and put a strong name on his name, which I don't think he needed, because granted, everybody fucking loved who he was in the WWE. Everyone knew what kind of person he was, even when he debuted as like after he like left NXT, he became part, like, when the Nexus that came out in like 2010.
And that was all like Triple H's.
That was like thing, Triple H's little thing, yeah. That's how like Daniel Bryan even got like a small push, because when they first came out, Daniel Bryan, who was part of the team that jumped everybody, and then like the next week later, Daniel Bryan ended up getting fired or like suspended or something because during the taping, like he got some guy's tie and like turned his tie around and it was like choking him, like actually choking him and shit like that. It was pretty fucking crazy, and I think they fucking, and I think he spit on the guy too. And so WWE is really like good at like not putting up with like that kind of shit. And so I think they terminated him. And like a few weeks later, you know, like they're all building this up to go fight at Survivor Series. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Shawn Michaels or Ric Flair that got Daniel Bryan to come back and give him a push as Daniel Bryan being the mystery seventh member of Team WWE to fight the Nexus or whatever. Um, they kind of made it seem like what reason why Daniel Bryan was gone is because, you know, when Daniel Bryan was like when they attacked everybody the first night, Daniel Bryan showed remorse to everybody, just a little cover up story. It felt bad, and so they kicked him out of the Nexus. And even after that, like he teamed with Kane for Team Hell No. He literally just he had the Yes movement. It's still popular today, like as in the Yes movement. Like you know, Stone Cold Steve Austin has the What. Everyone
Yeah.
chants What, or like The Rock says in the millions, and everyone says in the millions. Like copy him or whatever.
Yeah.
Like everyone has their own unique chant, and that's what Daniel Bryan created when he has the Yes chant. So Daniel Bryan was doing hella fucking good. I just felt like it was more of a personal, like he wanted to do things more with his character and he wanted to spend more time with his family. And in WWE, I don't think you'd have the time for that. Um, Especially as they're like, you know, as such as because right now when AEW was first getting started, they were absorbing everybody. Like they were like picking up so many people, not that many people. Like they were on for like maybe 2 hours, I think, and you had like it seemed like maybe like 40, 50 wrestlers, and how you're gonna fit them all on one like
Yeah.
one episode of like fucking AEW and shit. And WWE, of course, I mean, they were releasing people left and right because of COVID was happening, and like it's just I felt like also they were just letting this new company just absorb so much and just get okay, he's a hype guy, let's get him, let's get him, let's get him. Shortly after they went into debt, AEW, um, for I think it was like $2 million in debt or something like that. And so I don't know how they got out of it or whatever, but um, now it's just that AEW now owns what is it, Ring of Honor. They own Impact Wrestling. I think they're about to buy New Japan Wrestling. I'm not sure, or if it's already done. So they're just AEW is like absorbing a lot more. It's turning into how WWF used to be, and when they were just absorbing a bunch of shit. Um, and that still leads me to believe that like WWE is for like the kids and everything. AEW is for us grown folks or whatever.
So it'll be like AEW will be for like legacy, and then if WWE gets bought out by like Disney or whoever, Fox or Universal or Paramount, whatever happens, it'll be like that'll be the mainstream flavor, and
Right.
then like everybody that like is associated with like how it used to be and like tradition.
Yeah, exactly.
Tune into
Exactly. That's
the
pretty
other
much
stuff.
what AEW is, and I think that's why they were created, and I still think WWE partially helped create that shit because everyone was wanting how WWE used to be, and you heard so many wrestlers talk about it, how many fans talk about it, so someone actually just finally did it. Cody Rhodes, Tony
I think it's
Khan,
good.
and you know Chris Jericho and all of them helped put that together and stuff. But yeah, wow, I need water.
Do you
What?
if you need to? Oh, okay, you got some more.
Mm.
Hey, if anybody watching wants to just like hop in, I put the link in the chat. You're welcome.
You're
I'm
welcome.
just kind of throwing a wild card out there. Yeah. Okay, so I feel like, man, we've talked about a lot of good stuff so far. So yeah, the company getting sold, and then Vince McMahon coming back, and um, we'll see. Okay, so I have pulled up in front of me the top 10 biggest WWE controversies of all time, and we'll see how many of them we've already mentioned just talking. Because here's the thing: is that, like I said at the beginning, I don't regularly watch wrestling anymore, but I watch a lot of like old school wrestling documentaries and a lot of fan stuff and a lot of I used to be into it, and I still am, obviously, but like I don't really watch any. I don't like if I'm at the gym and I'll look up and I'll watch like Raw or SmackDown the whole time, like.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't, I'm just not as into it as I used to be when I was a kid, obviously,
Right.
But like when I find out Royal Rumble's coming to San Antonio or something, like I'm like, oh shit, should I go? Like, you know. Um. So yeah, I like you. I have an old school knowledge of everything.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here's the top 10 controversies of all time. Vince McMahon controversy. Just the first one. We already talked about that. This WWF controversy is indeed one of the biggest controversies the pro wrestling platform has ever witnessed in the history of sports entertainment. It has changed the entire course of pro wrestling platform from 2002 that includes titles, pay-per-views, and as well video games series fitted to WWF. Number 2, Chris Benoit controversy. Chris Benoit suicide and double murder suicide. We talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just read the very last of each paragraph. Following the death of the Benoit family, his police investigated the case with several theories. However, Benoit's case is still remembered as the leading controversial, mysterious chapter in WWE history. Yeah, because remember, the night after it happened, they did a tribute to him because they didn't have all the information and facts out. The investigation hadn't fully come out. So they did like a tribute to him. And then more info came out. And then that's when they just completely
Scratched it.
Yeah, just as much as they could, just avoided it. Like,
Yeah.
because I remember when all that happened in 2007, because they were talking about it on the news. I was, holy shit! Like, I feel like you were just seeing him like frog splashing. Oh my god! Yeah. Okay. 3, Undertaker's streak controversy. So we talked about that. The shocking end to The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak, it wasn't only a shocker for WWE Universe, but also generated tons of controversies over this decision for WWE Board of Directors. WWE management chose Brock Lesnar as a streak breaker, as the Phenom aging body would not allow him to compete much in the future. Hence, Vince McMahon took the final call that night to make headlines for tomorrow. According to the reports, the streak could have ended in 2011, but Lesnar was on the UFC contract at the time. Hence, much-awaited clash took place at WrestleMania 30, where Lesnar ended Undertaker's streak.
So Vince McMahon always wanted Lesnar to end the streak. This is what it sounds like.
Yeah,
And
that's kind of what they wanted to happen. Yeah.
Brock Lesnar is a phenomenal athlete from everything he does and so he's still doing. The man has he even has his own like barbecue seasoning and shit like that. It's pretty fucking. Have
you seen his teeth?
No.
Oh, I'm not gonna talk too much crap about him because I'm not a perfect person either. But like, if people have zoomed in on his teeth when he gives like his promos, and it looks like he's just like grinded down his teeth, and apparently, or like they say it's like grinding teeth and chewing tobacco. but like he has like no teeth. Never mind. I don't want to talk about that. I'm afraid he'll find me and kick my ass.
I
When
still
he beat The Rock that year and The Rock went away, dude, at that SummerSlam that year, that was heartbreaking for me.
I still think somebody else could have done it. Brock Lesnar was a beast, and yeah, actually he still is a beast. And I don't know. Like, the streak was so special, and it was given to somebody that I'm not saying Brock Lesnar doesn't care about the company, but he
came back last night, right?
He did. He did. But how do I put this? He doesn't. I don't think he's fully was involved, because he also wanted to go back and compete in UFC and stuff like that, and he was too busy running shit on his farm and stuff like that. And I don't know. Like, I felt like there was this one video where, like, after he won the title and shit, he had the title in his hand, went backstage, he just threw the title at fucking Vince, saying, like, I'm done with your stupid fucking show. Here's your fucking title. Yeah. Wow. There's a video of him just throwing the title at fucking Vince. It's just like, and there was a promo about it, like with when John Cena was gonna be fighting like fucking Brock Lesnar at a pay-per-view. I forget which pay-per-view it is. Edge comes back and saying, like, Brock doesn't give a damn about this place. He doesn't give a damn about anybody else. He doesn't give it, like, he just would easily walk over the people like Shawn Michaels, you, me, Undertaker. Like, just, like, you know, made it seem like Brock Lesnar was like that kind of person. I'm not saying that's who he is, but Brock Lesnar can do whatever the fuck he wants. I mean, granted.
I mean, dude, that guy is talented, and the fact that he really can fight in the UFC, you know what I mean? Like,
but like,
he's a talented guy.
He's a talented guy, but like, you can clearly see that he's also gets special treatment. As in, like, when he was the champion, he would just disappear on fucking weeks after weeks and only show up to pay-per-views. He doesn't wrestle regular matches like everybody else does. He just, like, always gets the title shot no matter what. It doesn't matter what title it is, and just over and over. Like, that's why people kind of got bored with the fucking Roman and Brock Lesnar, because it was always them two, because Brock was always given opportunity after two, because everyone knew that Brock Lesnar had a big fan base pull from the UFC, and just, you know, let's just keep them going at it. It's kind of what they did with Logan Paul. When Logan Paul,
yeah, what happened to him, dude? Is he still trying to?
So Logan Paul, he had 3 matches or whatever. He had one at, I think, SummerSlam, and then he had one at WrestleMania. Was it WrestleMania? No.
Last year?
No, it was somewhat recent. It was at some show. No, it was at Saudi Arabia. Go figure.
What was it called? Like Royal Jewel?
Crown Jewel. Yeah. Anyway, that match with Roman and Logan Paul was probably the best match through the whole card at the whole night. Like, and granted, Logan Paul, I mean, everyone can, like, has their different opinions about him and stuff. I never really hated the guy.
Yeah.
Like, of course,
we talked about him a bunch on that stream.
We did, and like, it's just like he's just trying to, like, own his, like, you know, like, just literally rebuild on what he's doing. And, you know, you got Jake Paul going into UFC boxing and, like, fighting other, like, you know, old athletes or whatever. And so now you got Logan Paul. What is he doing? Like, he literally, like, he trained with, like, Shawn Michaels, and, like, he put on a hell of a performance. Like, if you haven't seen the match, I'd say go watch it. It's pretty fucking awesome. Like, I remember watching with me, my roommate, and a couple other people, and we were just watching the whole show. Everything's cool, and then we saw that one, thinking it was gonna be like, a jobber match. No, it was actually the best match of the night. Like so much high flying, so much controversy and shit. The storyline buildup was actually decent. Um, Alexa's talking. Alexa, go to sleep. um, but yeah, no, it was a really great match. But like I said, back to Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, I don't think deserved to take Undertaker's streak as much. I mean, as great as of an athlete he is, everyone knew that like he easily just runs over anybody he gets in front of him. The person that only a few people that could stood up against him was like Goldberg and a few others, like rarely, but especially Undertaker and how old he was, and you put him up against a beast like Brock Lesnar. That was kind of a jobber.
Yeah.
That was kind of a jobber kind of thing. Like, put up someone that's actually gonna put like help Undertaker put up into a fight and stuff like that. So it was, I don't know. I mean, it happened. It's history.
It says the decision to break Undertaker's streak has been probably one of the most shocking and controversial stories ever witnessed in the history of World Wrestling Entertainment.
Yeah.
All right, so number 4, WWE controversy 2015, Hulk Hogan controversy, racist remark controversy. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard
that has to do with like him and the whole like his like affair and him being recorded in his house, and yeah, that's all. Yeah, that was crazy.
Wait,
I'm glad to see him back though, because
Yeah.
they totally erased him for a little while.
yeah, yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. That's like DC erasing Superman. Like, just that never happened.
What's number 5?
Yeah, number 5, Vince McMahon controversy. Oh, the steroid controversy in the early 90s. So we
Yeah.
all know about that. That was a big deal, and they had Hulk testify about all that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that has a lot to do with like it being like, oh, it's not like wrestling. It's not like a competition. It's like a performance. So
Right.
they can do the steroids because there's no competitive, like it's all planned. That's when they leaned into that mindset. I'll just read the last paragraph. Vince McMahon was put on trial with numerous wrestlers called to testify, including Hulk Hogan and Vince himself. During the trial, Hogan admitted that he had never seen Vince give wrestlers any steroids. Reportedly, one witness name was Kevin Waschultz, who had wrestled for the company in 1992 as Nails. That guy, I think I know who that is. Testified that McMahon had ordered him to use steroids. However, Vince was later acquitted of similar charges, but the damage was done, and the WWE went into a slump for the next few years. However, WWE overcame negative perception of the company. Yep. Okay, so the next one is the Macho Man Stephanie McMahon controversy, which we talked about.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to talk about it anymore.
It's all good.
Okay, so you talked a lot about this. Number 7, CM Punk controversy. CM Punk's WWE exit controversy. Punk walked out in 2014 dramatically and controversially. No one was expecting. The controversy blasted over Punk's exit from WWE despite his outstanding contributions in the last few years. After his exit, Punk broke his silence in an interview by saying that he was suspended for 2 months after walking out on the WWE. After the suspension ended, nobody from the company contacted him. Punk also told that when he reached out to them for unpaid royalties, he was handed his termination papers and was fired by WWE and on his wedding day in 2014.
Oh wow!
Damn.
Wow. I don't know. I didn't hear anything about that, but
Punk received. Oh, June 11th, Punk received a call from Triple H vowing him from his conversation once he's back from his marriage, but that didn't happen. Later, Punk received an email from his termination from the company. After receiving a termination, the board of directors, CM Punk decided not to return to the company. Punk was demanded WWE to sell his remaining merchandise. Damn.
I kind of remember that. I know
We got a shout out. BDFG Body Bags. What's up, dog?
What up, bud? What up?
What were you about to say?
No, I was just saying because I know he was scheduled for a match that week. Because I remember he had a singles competition with somebody. I think it was John Morrison, if I'm not mistaken. It was somebody.
Oh, that guy, yeah.
Yeah, and then his storyline was starting to get built up, and it kind of just got shut down out of nowhere. No, it's just from my understanding, like it's even going on right now, like over in AEW. Fucking CM Punk apparently is really hard to work with because apparently he complains a lot, and if he doesn't get things his way, then he just throws his attitude around and stuff like that. And like apparently that's how it was in fucking WWE. Like you can see on some promos and stuff like that, like there would be like contract signings, and then he would just go out. I mean, I don't know if he was scripted. It seemed like pretty like he was lowballing like Triple H every fucking time they got on the mic against each other, saying like, this company sucks, and like you just never liked me from the beginning, and like you're just mad because I'm just trying to make this place better and get out of the PG era and stuff like that, and
yeah,
just stuff like that.
You know what? He probably would have done good in the Attitude Era.
Yeah, he definitely would, and he was somewhat kinda around still. Like he was there towards the end, because I remember seeing he competed. It was DX and the Hardy Boys and CM Punk versus like.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the Hardy Boys. Yeah, and then he competed with, I forgot who they competed against, but CM Punk, he's been around for a while. It's just like he never got a good chance to be in the spotlight, and then he kind of just like took it upon himself to make the spotlight happen, and they were forced to just like, okay, this guy's.
John Cena leaned really into the PG era, like that's how he did well, and he did all those like Make-A-Wish Foundation things.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas someone like CM Punk was trying to be like maybe edgy at the time, and he was the right guy at the wrong time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, to an extent, yes. It's just I can see like how I feel like CM Punk was more just like really snobby. Like I felt like he just felt like he was entitled to everything once he did something great, like the pipe bomb, or like just he won a championship match or something like that, It's just like a lot of that rushed to his head. And what like I said, I stand by what I said again. Like what really popped him off was just that one pipeline thing where he sat on the stage and just went off, and John Cena was in the ring when it all happened and shit. And they were trying to figure out, I think they were gonna fire him or suspend him or whatever. Oh, actually they suspended him supposedly. And John Cena was all like, "Oh, I want you to bring him back. Blah, blah, blah. We're gonna fight this out. Like you're suspending a guy that was practicing his freedom of speech, and like you talk about this company loves this country or whatever, and you're just gonna knock somebody for freedom of speech or whatever." But that's not the right way to do it. You put them in a match and like you make them lose or something like that. I don't fucking know. But I don't know. It got into a lot, and like even people were talking about like he might even show up at the Royal Rumble this year. but um, I don't
That
see
would
it.
be cool.
It would be cool, but I don't know what WWE would do with him because right now it's just I feel like all the storylines right now it's going great. There's no really introduction where he can easily just slide in and take over on that storyline or be added to a storyline. Um, and the fact that nobody at people at AEW nobody really likes him over there. Um, it's just
Oh, really? I didn't know
yeah
that.
yeah no there's a lot of controversy that they just want him gone. Just like he's just there for the fucking because people like were hyped because of the pipe bomb and oh wait CM Punk's finally coming back to wrestling. We miss CM Punk blah 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 blah, and he came back, had his few matches, and then now it's just like now what? So yeah, it's just now what?
What do we do now?
Yeah, so like he's not really doing anything else. So I guess it would be more of a little bit a better pop if he would have come back to WWE. But I don't know what he
Yeah.
would do. I don't know what he would do. He tried doing MMA, mixed martial arts. I don't know if you heard about that,
Oh,
and
that's cool.
he failed miserably at it. Yeah, but
Hey, number 8, I have China controversy.
with the sex tape or whatever.
Well, because after the WWE, she started doing like porn, pretty
Right.
much.
With
But
X Pac, right?
yeah, and I think he like was abusing her also, or they had some sort of weird relationship,
Yeah.
like mentally abusing her.
Yeah. I don't know that much about that story. I just I
No
heard.
other woman except China emerged out of that much successful as she was during the Attitude Era. China helped Vince McMahon a lot make a huge sum of money by wrestling against the male wrestlers and taking part in many noteworthy storylines. Totally, dude. She would just straight up like fight like the male wrestlers. Like it was like a normal thing. Like
Especially
was
when
in
she
the
entered the Royal Rumble, yeah.
Hell yeah. And like a OG member of DX. However, things went imperfect for her when ex-boyfriend Triple H cheated on her with Vince McMahon's only daughter, Stephanie McMahon. In an interview, Chyna's sister said that Triple H and Chyna disagreed about having children. Levesque, Triple H, wanted
Yeah.
children while Chyna did not. And her addiction and mental health problems also contributed to the breakup. Chyna tried to confront Vince McMahon on the matter. However, he turned his heels and told Chyna to stay away.
Oh wow.
To stay away to spark any controversy, Vince McMahon decided not to renegotiate Chyna's contract due to the controversy regarding his daughter stealing her boyfriend, which that's that sounds just that itself sounds like, is this real life or is that like part of the storyline?
Right.
Apart from her triangular love affair with controversy, Chyna had a big time career in the WWE. She was first woman to participate in the Royal Rumble match and King of the Ring tournament, as well as become #1 contender of the WWF Championship. That's right. And dude, I loved her and Eddie Guerrero.
Oh yeah.
That was his mamacita, dude.
Oh man.
Yeah. But you know what? Whenever DX got inducted into the Hall of Fame,
Mm-hmm.
they made sure to like talk about her,
Yeah, they did.
which I thought was cool.
I mean, it took them a few years to like get to talk about her, but they finally
Yeah.
did it. What's another one?
Number 9, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart controversy, Montreal Screwjob. We already talked about that. Well, I guess did we talk about that? I guess we didn't really go in depth about that one.
I don't know much about that. I mean, okay.
So essentially, Bret Michaels wanted to renegotiate his
Bret
contract.
Michaels.
Or shit.
There you go
Bret
again.
Hart. Bret Hart wanted to renegotiate his contract, and it just didn't work out for him. But he was gonna like do run out the rest of his contract with the company, and then like potentially go with WCW. But the thing was is that he was the champ at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and like he had like a weird stipulation where like I don't know, he like could talk. He had like creative input essentially, and he wanted to go out as the champion and like leave as the champion.
Right.
And Vince was like, no, 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 like you need to do the job and do one over and get the next guy the belt so that they keep the thing going,
Right.
which was Shawn Michaels. And so this goes back into the whole favoritism of Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels, because Shawn Michaels, so like in the early to mid 90s, Shawn Michaels actually like he was kind of known backstage as being kind of like a he gets whatever he wants, and he was kind of like a lot of people had problems with him.
Yeah.
And so when it came to this, like he almost like was felt entitled, like, oh, I'm gonna get the belt, like no matter what, I'm the guy. Whereas like Brett like had like he thought he was gonna like go out as the guy, but then the whole thing was set up, and then if you look at the footage, like yeah, they have him pinned. What's the name of the referee? Jim Cornette.
Yeah.
He's like, I 1, 2, 3, and then I ran out, and I was out of that stadium. And so, yeah, so they essentially, that was before, because everything was scripted, but like this was when it was like, wait, like is wrestling real or fake? Like the whole like, what's up with it? Like
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just read a little bit. On November 8th, 1997, a day before Survivor Series, McMahon met with Pat Patterson and Michaels in a hotel room in Montreal to execute the plan of the screw job. It was reported that it makes those other questionable rumors funny when you say screw job.
Yeah.
It was reported that McMahon's close aides, Gerald Briscoe and Sergeant Slaughter, had been involved in the planning. The screw job will live in the minds of WWE fans for as long as they can remember. Holding an infamous legacy both on screen and off, this notorious moment was also recorded in the documentary film Hitman. The far-reaching impact of the incident led to the promotion as a theme in matches and the storylines of the WWF's Attitude Era, and the creation of the character of Mr. McMahon, the evil boss. So this was like they played into like Vince McMahon like pulling the strings and getting his way and like
Right.
being the one that's in control. I didn't really read any specifics though. The plan was to let Brett win against Michaels and retain the title in his home ground. Oh, yeah, because it was in Montreal, because he's from Canada. Because it was going to be his last big match, and he was going to be in Canada, and he was going to win his, yeah. However, the match was coming near to the conclusion. Michaels put Brett into a sharpshooter, and McMahon ordered to ring the bell, even though Brett didn't tap out. Yeah, and there's like footage you can see, like Brett looks confused, and he like hawks a loogie on Vince, and everybody's booing, and
they try to redo the Brett and Shawn Michaels screw job.
Oh yeah.
With what was it? It was with Shawn Michaels and John Cena. No, it was with CM Punk and John Cena. It was CM Punk's contract's ending. CM Punk said he's going to leave the company as the WWE champion. Mm-hmm. Yada yada yada. The match ends up happening. Well, but before the match happens, Vince McMahon said like, Cena, if you end up losing this match, then you're gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna fire you. And then Cena goes and says, well, if you're gonna fire me for losing a match that I know I'm not gonna lose, then I'm just gonna walk my happy little ass out the door and go stand on someone else's stage. And he's like,
yeah.
And then he's like, can you hear me? Can you hear that brother, and he says that to Vince, like live on television, like saying like he'll go join Impact when Hulk Hogan was running Impact or whatever. Um, he was saying like, "Oh, I'll go wrestle for him." So the match ends up happening. They're all wrestling and shit like that. CM Punk and John Cena, and here comes Vince McMahon because Cena got him in like some submission move, and McMahon's running down the ring saying, "Like, call the bell, call the bell, call the bell." And then John Cena gets out of the ring and says like, "Hey, no, that's not how the match is gonna end. You can do that on your own time or whatever, or somebody else. That's not who I'm gonna be remembered as."
Because remember that Royal Rumble match with Cena and Batista when they both went over the ring at the same time?
Yeah.
And then everybody's confused, and then Vince runs out and then tears both of his quads, and he can't get back up, and he's just like trying to play it off, and he essentially leads to just like, we're gonna do a rematch and end this. So that has a bit of a interesting theory also. God damn it. Whether that was planned or not. Like, was it originally Cena or like, but like, what was it? Like, nobody knows like what the official.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really go into deep in that. I know what match you're talking about, and I feel like they always find different ways of like making it interesting to like you got like what is it, Kofi Kingston getting thrown out of the ring, but finding some way to jump onto somebody or jump in on the guarding rail and then finding his way back into the ring because his feet never technically touched the ground. It was actually pretty entertaining.
Hey, we got a comment on your YouTube from That's So Ruben. He says, "Great show so far." Thank you,
nice.
Ruben.
Thank you, Ruben.
So, all right, number 10, we have greatest Royal Rumble controversy. WWE pauses women's evolution controversy. Do you know anything? Oh, that's okay. The Saudi Arabia thing.
Oh yeah.
No. WWE organized a mega pay-per-view event in Saudi Arabia named the Greatest Royal Rumble. Before being able to promote the event globally, it landed into a controversy of not allowing any woman wrestler to participate in the event. The event received huge criticism from all around after it was revealed that WWE and Saudi government signed a 10-year deal with the company. No woman will be allowed to participate in Saudi Arabia event for 10 years. Wow. The partnership emerged out with a controversial reason that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia isn't permitting women to compete despite WWE's ongoing women's evolution. Female superstar like Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and Alexis Bliss were not present in Saudi Arabia events. Only female wrestlers, presenters like Renee Young was also found absent. Sources revealed that Stephanie McMahon and Michelle Wilson were also not present. Damn. WD shown the brighter side of women's evolution in the pro wrestling platform. Management has been trying to hold at least one female match soon.
Yeah, they had one this past one when they were in Saudi Arabia. It was when they had them all clothed and everything. Yeah. But they just had like I think one singles competition, I believe, and that was it. And that's another thing that's probably like people are getting skeptical about the company possibly getting sold over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
That was it for the list. But do you know about the whole Katie Vick thing?
Katie Vick.
So like this is during Triple H's reign of terror, and it was like him and Kane, and he was this is how they were trying to get Kane to take off the mask.
Oh yeah.
And there was like a woman that like killed in an accident, and like
and then he stuck his hand in like some casket and
dude, I remember seeing that on TV when it happened, and that was like what the heck, like
yeah.
He gets in the casket, and it's like necrophilia, dude.
Yeah,
weird.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. But
can you think of anything else?
Oh,
we talked about like so we could talk a little bit before we end about them like selling the company. So like, okay, so Vince just came back, and so he essentially, the rumors are is that like if the company's gonna go out and be sold, like he wants to be in charge of it in its last days.
Yeah.
So Stephanie's stepped down, and I guess the rumors are is that he's working to make like a buyout.
Yes, and even like I heard AEW has made WWE an offer, like to even buy WWE, but I don't know how. I don't know what to think about this. I don't know. I'm about to pull it up right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. See what you can pull up.
Uh, let's see.
Anybody that's viewing, be sure to check out Eli's channel. I just put a link in the bio again. You gonna be gaming later?
Yeah, everyone's wanting me to jump on Fortnite.
Okay.
The Undertaker. Yeah. Oh, what did the Undertaker tell? And what the Undertaker told Vince McMahon to do with Bray Wyatt? No. Where's it at? Ooh. Dwayne Johnson to spend over $6.5 billion to purchase WWE from Vince McMahon, undercutting the Saudi Arabia party, said I would find a way to do that.
That'd be awesome.
I would love that.
Because
I would.
he bought the XFL, right?
Yeah, he bought that. He owns that. He has
Which Vince once owned.
He owns Voss drinking water now. He has Zoa, the energy drink. He has his own tequila line.
Terramana.
Yeah, he's Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is a popular name, not only in the world of cinema but the world of wrestling too. Primarily, The Rock was okay. Yada yada yada. Dwayne Johnson has been coming up as the strongest name / contender who is ready to save the WWE from being purchased from Saudi Arabia. That's news to me.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
Yeah, that's on Wrestling News or TJR Wrestling, Blooming.com. Come on, Vincey Pooh. My phone's okay. There it goes. Well, no real news. All the news is that Dwayne Johnson has made an offer to buy WWE, which I would fucking love that, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would also pump a lot of energy into the company. I mean, a lot of people tune in. It just depends on, who the people he would put in charge and like for the jobs, and it would take a lot of other people as well.
Yeah. Hang on.
Yeah, there was a ton more in that video, the iceberg video. I'll pull it back up. It's like 2 hours long, so I mean, if anybody wants to learn more, I'll have it linked below.
I really want to know what Undertaker said to Bray Wyatt last night.
Yeah. He could have just, yeah.
Like, you're the new you're the new face of fear. You are I'm passing you the torch. Who knows? I'm pretty sure they're gonna announce it like on Saturday or the next Monday Night Raw, or something that happens to.
All right, so here's a couple. Apparently, the wrestlers were trying to pay the Iron Sheik.
Shut up, bitch!
They offered him $100K to break Hogan's leg in one of the dirt sheets back of the day.
What happened?
I guess they would pay. They in a match were trying to pay the Iron Sheik to actually break Hulk Hogan's leg.
Really?
Because he was getting too much attention, and so that would give other people the spotlight. Okay, I heard about this one. The Twin Towers. So there was like a tag team called the Twin Towers, and Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage were teamed up, and they were called the Mega Powers. And so they did a promo where they were, we're gonna knock down the Twin Towers, and the Twin Towers are gonna come and knock them down, and there's no stop until the Twin Towers come falling down. Like, there's just a ton of footage of them talking about knocking down the Twin Towers. But it was a tag team at the time, yeah.
Yeah.
Not me, not Hermione, you.
Oh, Owen Hart's fall. So, yeah, Owen Hart died. He fell, I forgot how many feet. He was on the scaffolding, and he was going to make an entrance, and he fell. And so, the only thing I've ever heard is the Spanish announcers talk about, like, they witnessed it, but it was during someone else's recorded promo, so it wasn't televised. But
right.
The people
Do you speak any English?
So I guess there's a vault that.
Do you understand the
like,
words that are coming out of my
we
mouth?
mentioned D'Lo Brown earlier. So D'Lo Brown accidentally did this move, and this guy, I can't remember his name. I don't know if it was Nails or someone else, but he like affected his spinal cord and like became a quadriplegic. And whenever you see the "Don't Do This at Home" video of them putting someone in a stretcher and carrying him out, that's him. Well, Owen Hart, fell like, I don't know, like 100 feet in the air onto the ring, and that was crazy. Jeff Hardy. I mean, nothing really. Just Jeff Hardy's in and out because he's in and out of rehab and stuff. He's not going to do anything bad.
Damn. Yeah, I'm gonna start wrapping it up. But this has totally been. I was actually looking forward to this all damn day today. I was like, I even put it on my stream earlier today, like doing that podcast and stuff. But
yeah, anybody tuning in, go check out Eli's stream. He's gonna be playing some Fortnite in a little bit, right?
Yep. I'll be playing Fortnite. I think you're on here. Hang on. What was the name of that game you were playing with? What was Captain America on it?
Oh, that was like an old school like game from back in the day. I don't even remember the name of it. It's just like a Captain America NES game. It was one of like many games.
No, I definitely want to play that. And is Bully on PC?
Yes, I believe so, but I'm playing it through iOS, like Apple.
Okay. No, I'm sure that
you might be able to find it in the Google Play store.
Yeah,
you know?
The Windows Store. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can look it up. I definitely gonna have your name being shout out through the stream tonight to go definitely check you out.
I'll come check up on you in a little bit.
But
Anybody that tuned in on Eli's YouTube channel, thank you for the questions and love. We'll maybe try and do this again in like a couple months if anything cool. Maybe after WrestleMania or something.
Royal Rumble's right around the corner. I'd be down.
Yeah, yeah.
But more to come about the whole purchase of WWE. See what's actually going to happen.
Yeah. So. Oh, yeah. So we'll learn more about that in the coming weeks.
But thanks for having me. Thanks for hosting me. Much appreciated, McGruber.
We're gonna rate out to Radical Edward too.
Bet.
He's a gamer that plays some bully and stuff.
Awesome.
But yeah, everybody go check out Book of Eli's channel in just a little bit, and y'all have a good night. Thank you all for tuning in.
Later, Scott.
Peace, Eli. See you.
All right, Miss Mai, you get your wish. Oof. All right. Oh. All right, guys. Well, I'm probably about to head off and go to sleep. Y'all don't get to see me go compete with Miss Mai tonight. Maybe tomorrow when she's well rested. And we would definitely these kids. I'll check y'all out tomorrow. Let me go deal with these poons.